What's up, potheads and political junkies? You're watching Cannabis Culture News Live. Jeremiah here with Johnny Boy.
What's up, everybody?
There he is.
Yeah, I haven't been around, apparently, after years of being here and living in the studio and having my condo back, I actually don't live here.
I know, he finally got his own place.
Finally got my
Doesn't
own
sleep
place.
on the couch here anymore.
I haven't been hanging out on the couch that
The
much
cot,
anymore.
yeah.
But you know what?
Your bunk beds.
This is the shift.
Having my second home, especially here, is awesome. So I'm back.
There you go, Johnny. It's good to have you back. You've been busy. You've been really busy doing a lot of things. And we do check in with you every once in a while.
Everything that's happening in this industry is moving so quickly and so fast.
It has been.
It's just amazing what's going on.
It's pretty awesome, actually, in lots of ways. And also with us here today, Piper Courtenay on the couch in the hot seat. Where's our cameraman there? There. Aha. How's it going, Piper?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Good to have you here again to talk about, of course, you're from the Georgia Straight and Straight Cannabis, doing amazing journalism there constantly. I tell people constantly that you're doing the best marijuana journalism in the goddamn city right now. Seriously, I'm not kidding.
Dude,
I
so nice.
read you constantly, and it's always amazing, and you're hitting all the right angles and topics. So
Thank
very
you.
cool. And you're here repping the Grassroots Expo that's happening this weekend in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And maybe tell us a little bit about what's going on there.
Yeah, Grassroots Expo for the Cannabis Curious.
Yes, curious.
For the curious. It's
And
a
the wise.
2-day, and the wise. Everybody. It's for the cannabis everybody. It's a 2-day educational speaker series and expo, and we've crafted it around building a foundational level of knowledge for anyone who's got any questions about cannabis. And then we've also stacked it with incredible speakers and experts. So if you do have a high level of knowledge, you can come in and ask all sorts of interesting questions and whatever you need to do.
Very cool. Now, it's not in the same place it was at the first one.
No, it's at
where's the
SFU.
new venue at SFU?
Yeah, SFU Harbor Center, so just down the road from
Not
you.
far.
Isn't that when we did an event there in the very beginning, and I always thought it was Georgia
We've done a
State.
few.
Yeah, and they were just here, and it was through SFU too. I remember that.
Yeah, I can't remember
At the
what
Harvard
the name of
Center.
that event
Great
was.
place.
It
Yeah,
is
you know
a
what I'm
very
talking
nice
about.
spot, though. A lot of great rooms, good little
Yeah.
speakers areas.
Yeah.
One
and
little
stuff.
speak on the end is, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool little spot this time because we only had one theater at UBC, but this one we actually have a theater for our Weed Shop series, which is our little workshop, play on workshop series. And then we also have the big room for actual panels and bigger speaker series and things.
Very cool.
Public Square? Is there a public square there?
Public Square.
Public Square.
Oh,
No,
in
this
the
is at
middle?
Harbor Center. The Harbor Center. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what Opus is talking about, but Opus is in the house.
Opus just showed up.
Yeah, Dopus. And, so that's very cool. So now last year, it was basically education. You guys have speakers talking and stuff. You have expo. It is an expo component with booths and everything. We actually, I think, had a little our own chill out area last year. We're not actually at this year's event, but we're going to be showing up there. You want this?
You're always there.
You better come check it out.
Cannabis
Yeah,
Culture's
we'll
there
definitely
because
come check
people
it
from
out.
Cannabis Culture there wearing shirts.
Of course.
Someone has to bring the weed.
Exactly. But so, what do you guys
That's
have
gonna be
lined up?
you.
Yeah. What are you doing this year?
Yeah,
Like, what are
so
some of the things?
this time we kind of wanted to diversify our content a little bit. Last time we had a really strong focus on the medical side of it and the patient benefits and whatnot, which was incredible. And this time we wanted to prep people for October 17th. So we're focusing a lot on the regulations and what the culture is going to look like after October 17th and what's going to come with legalization. And we just wanted to create the platform for that dialogue. So not necessarily directing people as to whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, but let's bring the speakers in, let's bring the federal government in, let's bring the LPs in, let's make sure that everyone from every facet of the industry is represented so that you can ask the questions and get the answers you need.
What time does this start at?
10 a.m. on both
10
days.
a.m. on both days. 10 till 5?
10 till 5 and 10 till 6.
10
on
till
Sunday.
6. When's the party?
It is Saturday.
Saturday's
night.
always a party.
Yeah.
Always
And,
got to have a party.
Yeah, it's the after party for speakers and exhibitors and anyone who's involved with the process. So come on over to the Straight offices and we're gonna have
Oh,
a
it's
fun
party
little
at the Straight offices.
It is
Party at
a
the
party at the
Straight
Straight offices.
offices.
We're gonna have
Oh,
a
shit.
band and it's gonna be
I
cool.
heard about
There's-
those back in the 70s.
I just heard there was a party.
Yeah, I don't know
and
if
I was
we're
like,
gonna
well,
party
I
that
gotta go to this.
hard. But there will be, you know what, there's Travis Peterson of the Nomad Cook. He's going to be doing cannabis infused canapes.
Oh,
so there's
cool.
going to be actual edibles there and
Wow.
there will be weed.
There will be weed.
There will
Well,
be
it is
that's
about
the
weed.
important
We're
thing.
talking about cannabis.
But you can't smoke
they
it in
are.
your cubicle, though. You told me.
You know what's
There's no smoking
interesting?
in cubicles.
No
on
smoking in the
floor.
cubicles, no.
No.
The smoke-free little desk section, sadly, but it's covered in just photos of weed, so I can remind myself. It's like contact high.
Beautiful. That's hilarious.
So eat it. Just dive in. Just start eating.
That's what
Yeah.
we used to do in high school when the teachers knew we were puffing so hard outside, and we'd smell like weed. I started getting my mom to make edibles for us, and I sold a lot of pot, so I'd show up with like 50 brownies in the morning at the schoolyard and just sell them all to everybody, and then everybody in school was all high.
Yeah, I went to the wrong high school, apparently.
That was John Barkley in Nanaimo.
Well, I went to Poco High, and let me tell you.
But I want to say, you went to Poco High? Nice. How was the weed there?
Well, I started selling weed in grade 8.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I went
Didn't
to
we all?
West
We went to
Van.
the pit and,
Everyone was doing coke.
Oh,
It was terrible.
No, we
That's
were smoking weed, and in the fall we were picking mushrooms.
Ah, there you go.
I mean, that was the 80s to me. That was like, if you weren't smoking weed, you were eating mushrooms. So we're a very peaceful, high, happy, loving group that live in the heavy metal.
There you go.
That question the teachers constantly. They're
Well,
like,
no, the
that's
teachers-
not right.
You know, but we had great teachers, and that was the whole thing. It's kind of like today. I don't know what school is today. I have no idea, but I think kids are learning quicker and faster. And I wonder if there's actually going to be education with legalization around the corner in schools on cannabis.
There you go.
With the
Big
$6
question the
million,
teachers constant-
$120 million funding that they're doing. So, what education are going to be going to the kids about cannabis now? Because they never had anything in class. I didn't get educated on.
Well, one of the funny that you
Just
bring
curious.
that up.
Yeah,
One of the
same bringing that up.
panels that we're doing at Grassroots, little
Yeah.
plug here, is called the Pot Talk and breaking down cannabis for kids. So it's going to bring.
Is David Manuel Levine talking?
No, it's going to be Dr. Jenna Valeriani and she did work with the Canadian Students for Sensible Drug Policy, and then the executive director of Educators for Sensible Drug Policy, Judith Renault, and they're going to be talking about how to have that conversation with your kids in a progressive and well-educated way and break away
Same
from
thing
that
as
old.
alcohol is. I think is going to be the effect of what they're going to probably going or the approach.
No,
is what,
I think they're going to be talking about I think kids need to learn about the regulations. Kids need to learn about what's happening in their society.
Well, I'm
as
curious,
and
and that comes into play too. And
talking about the health benefits too. Like that's
the
not
fines
included in the alcohol
health benefits.
talk.
A kid at the age of 15 years old hands a joint to his buddy at 16 is going to get a $3,000 fine for passing a
And-
joint. Who's going to pay that fine? The parents.
Well,
Yeah.
social sharing. Nobody taught me about that when I was growing up. Nobody told me that if I passed a joint to someone that was a couple years younger than me, that I would get. I mean, obviously.
Mark
different
actually
then,
passed a
They
joint,
should-
went to jail. So
Yeah.
Yeah, he passed a joint went to jail. I guess they're going to need to teach the kids that if you admit to ever smoking marijuana at the U.S. border, you could be banned for life.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And then posting on social media, the kids are gonna just start posting on Snapchat that they're smoking weed, and then get, major
Hence,
trouble.
I don't
Yeah.
know where I might live close to the U.S. border, but
Yeah.
it's really interesting on how that's panning out. Even Justin Trudeau mentioned that, and there was the little thing about that,
About him mentioning.
about when you get to the U.S. border.
Oh,
We just
yeah,
talked
yeah.
about this. This happened, was it yesterday?
Oh, you know what? I didn't actually watch to the end of the clip. I saw him talk about home growing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the same clip? Yeah, they asked him about the home growing, and then maybe he did. I just didn't. We actually have that clip
And basically, not to
play on the
mention
show
it.
today.
Here comes sit down over here.
Opus knows all about this, doesn't it?
I do.
You do, so you know exactly what I'm talking about because
I sure do.
We're moving so quickly and so fast right now. Even with Quebec, they're not going to be using the roadside $6,000 saliva testing machine for testing for THC. They
It's gonna be
train their
legal
officers
issues with all
already
that. Now, it's
on
fu-
how to look at someone who's impaired behind the wheel, and that could be impaired behind any drug, and that can be too much damn coffee.
Yesterday, I was with the CTV reporter,
Oh yeah.
and we went down to Delta Police Department, and out in the parking lot. with the
the device.
No, not the device. Went through the whole thing with the drug recognition expert.
Oh okay.
Oh, did you?
Yes, and I did it. Well, because I'm a
I've been wanting to do
hardcore,
Chronic smoker.
connoisseur.
Yeah.
What happened was they decided, well, we don't really need a baseline, even though I hadn't smoked all morning, so up to about 11 o'clock. I've been up since 6, no wake and bake.
Oh,
So-
they told you to hold off and not smoke. When you got
Yeah,
up.
so, because I thought we might be doing a baseline, right?
Right.
So we didn't. So anyways, I smoked a bowl of weed. and I went and did the test. Now, I've written an article for CC for this, but it's really interesting when the test, because people don't realize it's not just, do these things. You have to listen very carefully to the instructions.
Right.
Because there's little things that they're saying that if you're not paying attention, you're hyper-focused on the physical part and not on the instructions.
Right.
And that, to him, is a sign of impairment because you can't multitask.
Right.
That's actually the
Pay
design
attention,
of...
pick up on details and stuff like that,
So someone who's in chronic pain or
the
anything
vision
like that
part,
is going to screw up right away.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and it's funny because I just smoked a big bowl.
Well, if they're that
I
impaired.
just smoked one of these, of this beautiful tuna. And
You have any more of
so
that?
they do the part with the pen first, right? Follow with your eyes, don't move your head. Passed right after smoking a bowl, which is interesting. But the walking on the line part, he said, you probably would have given me a 24-hour, but on the other side of that, physical limitations and age, things like that, really come into play.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, he's telling me that after a certain age, once you get over 60 and continue on upwards from there, the tests really aren't valid.
Yeah, because you can't hold, like with me, I can't hold sense of balance because of spinal cord injury, so testing me on a balance.
Or somebody who's got an injury or disability or anything like that also.
Isn't
These
that an
are also
argument that old
factors.
people and people like that shouldn't be driving?
No, but I mean, one
How
of
old
the
are you,
things
Jan?
one of them is stand with your
Probably.
feet together, but your heels and your toes like completely touching.
Yes.
Well, I find that difficult just due to some of the problems. I have my hip flexors out, my back.
Right.
I have other issues.
Yeah.
So that puts me kind of off balance.
Right.
Hands at sides and,
Well, it's,
Well, that's
it's
fair
not a
enough.
natural standing position anyway, so it
it's
kind of put you
not.
off balance.
You usually have your feet a little bit apart
Yeah.
for some stability. So having your feet really tight together like that,
I slipped a
makes
disc
it
in my
even
back, and I can barely move properly right now, but I can still drive my car.
Exactly.
But, yeah, well, my walking is not so good.
So the other thing was, they said they're probably, first of all, they're not going to
Wait
be
till you go
ready
to a
to
shower,
use the swab till at least April of next year.
Oh, Jesus.
They're just not ready for this to use it. And secondly,
it also-
what I'm getting from the police there, because they were really friendly, this was a great interaction,
Yeah.
is they're leaning more towards the drug recognition experts and do not want to rely on the saliva tester. And I think I understand why, because that one will easily be challenged in court.
Well, that and the fact that your THC level, there's no evidence proving that it connects to an actual impairment.
Yeah.
Exactly,
So
this is what I mean.
what's
Well, the whole thing is
5
It'll go to
milligrams
court
for
and it'll
you
get
is-
thrown out.
Could be 50 milligrams for someone else.
synthetic
Totally.
forms of THC and stuff
Tuesday-
like that, people already take.
Yeah.
Tuesday, I'm going with CTV again to a lawyer's office who
Yeah.
has one of those machines.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, and we're gonna just see where my
What's
levels.
the name of the machine again?
The
It's
Dragger
funny.
5000.
Yeah,
Dragger.
it's $6,000.
It sounds like a fishing thing.
It
It
looks-
sounds like fishing stuff, right? Like something you'd see on a K-Tel commercial. They do Dragger 5000.
so
What
Catch
I'm
bigger
reading is,
fish.
Piper, your point was exactly right, though. I mean, it's so varied between individuals that there's no science to it at all.
No,
And
no.
as soon as it goes to court,
And
it's just going to get thrown
It's
out.
going to get thrown out because
Yeah.
THC is fat soluble, so it stores. Like it stays in your body for a long time. So you
Up
can
to about
have,
30 days.
especially for someone who smokes all the time, you could wait 30 days and
Well, just not only
It's still
smokes,
there.
but look at people who have cancer, HIV, or chronic pain, or just
Yeah.
other different conditions
Yeah.
that use converted forms of THC edibles every day for their pain, who
Yeah.
have to go to doctors and stuff like that, and can't take opioid drugs. And there's lots of people out there taking opiates that drive. We know that.
yeah,
So, I
who would be
mean, is this
debilitated by
machine-
their pain, so they couldn't drive anyway.
Is it going to test for more than just
ridiculous.
cannabinoids? Is the question. This machine does it test for other
the
drugs?
machine is testing.
It's
they've-
testing for THC. Only.
THC
No.
and cocaine.
And cocaine.
Well,
I
yes.
heard
Yeah,
it was a-
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, no.
But when
it's
we're
just
talking
those-
about cannabis
Yeah.
Oh, the
specifically,
guy I was told
So
by
no
the
Cocoa
chief-
Puffs.
No,
If
but
you
I
have
was already.
cocaine-
That's what I was
and-
saying. It's already gonna.
Yeah,
they're gonna
coke
set
and
this
weed.
machine up so it can test for for other drugs, not just
Yeah, for sure.
cannabinoids.
Oh yeah.
It will.
Because, and that's
we
with
actually-
the price tag on it, and what
We have a
officers
video
to be.
on this subject, actually, so maybe we should play.
It's 4:18. You're not playing the 2
don't
minutes
play
before
the video.
4:20.
We'll play the videos
Wait a
later.
minute.
I'd rather talk to our guests right now, anyways. But
Hi, guys.
Remember, we'll play that video later. I don't think it's going to really go through. I think basically the lawyers are just going to say, look, this is too stupid to even go forward.
Well, you know
with.
what? It's just like anything, and we talk about like even with tolerance and stuff like that, or like medical patients, or the guy that's never smoked a joint or done a dab. It's discretion, but the whole thing is being able to say, well, there's a level of THC in your blood that you can't have. I mean, that's hard to say because
It's
I
different.
mean,
for
should I
everybody.
guarantee that my level's already over, and then would that mean I'm not allowed to drive anymore?
Well,
I can't go see my dog.
I don't
Chronic
think it's
users are
going
gonna be the ones
It's
who
not
get
going to go
targeted.
through. You look at lawyers like
But I've
Sarah
talked to
Lehman
several different-
like those guys that are doing all the research on this. They're
1 minute
ready to
warning.
go. They're like ready as soon as it goes through. They're ready to go and they're going to take it down. I mean, it doesn't make any sense
Exactly.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
They're already telling the media that, and I think that they're getting it because,
Yeah.
why waste all this money? It's all like they're giving money to contractors too. It's like
Yeah.
It's a
private
money grab.
companies that make this shit.
It's a
Who
money
are they?
grab.
No, I don't
The
think.
fines
I mean,
and- well, in a sense,
I
it's
don't
just-
think so. I think it's just they're sitting there going, "We need to create these strict boundaries, and we need to look responsible, and we need to look like we know what we're
420.
doing, but we don't know what we're doing."
I think you're right. Exactly. They're just trying to appease the
just-
other side to make it look like they're
Well, and they're
having control. The whole thing
they're
of
trying to do
legalization. and
the best job they can. They're
Yeah.
kind of tied to the fact that they have to make everybody in this country happy. That's a hard thing to do.
Yes.
So you start with
It's
a really
true.
hard line and then see where you can move it. Thank you.
It's absolutely true. And of course,
That's
that's how
Yeah,
they
that'd
always
be
do
good.
this stuff. They come down as hard as they can so they can appease all those conservatives out there.
Exactly.
And then
That's-
eventually it
that's
just
what's
flutters
gonna happen
away.
here in the
but
beginning.
that's what we say all the time. But look at alcohol prohibition and how long it actually took. Like LCBO still runs Ontario.
Yeah.
That's something's wrong with that, in my opinion. Why does Ontario have the third largest distributor of all alcohol on the planet? And that's the government. That seems wrong. That's a big ass government gang making a lot of money.
But you have to also remember that we have medical patients behind our movement, which means
Yeah.
it'll move a hell of a lot faster than the alcohol prohibition did.
Well, the whole thing is
I think
when
you're
it
right.
comes to medical, there's more human rights acts that are involved with that, and it really comes down to. And I was discussing that today with more people who are running these compassion clubs in town, and they're fearing that they're being shut down and patients can't access.
Yeah.
The medical access through patients' rights in these places always supplied a place where people like myself or other people who are in need of being able to share a conversation with somebody who's also suffering from the same condition. I think these places became a gathering for people who are suffering, and we saw that over years and how it helped one another.
It's a
And then-
therapy in itself.
It's a therapy
Being
in
able to
itself.
talk to a person who understands.
110%. And these are member driven run clubs that have society acts and stuff like that. They have dinners, they do member interaction and stuff like that. That's important for these things. We have brain injury societies, we have cancer societies. I mean, all of these places are for people to go and
You want to
You know,
Okay.
I feel that.
Opus, you wanna dab?
I do, please. I feel
Dab 'em
that,
up.
come
There's one ready.
legalization, the same thing that's going to happen here is what happened in what do you call it, in Washington and Colorado. Everybody, all the fears that the certain people had never materialized.
Right.
And I think, pretty
Or-
quick,
or
and that
they
all
did-
went away.
They did and they could
But what we're
adjust.
looking at
Yeah,
is
I
all
think
these
some of them
clubs
did,
are down there.
especially in Washington State. I think
Yeah.
that the way that the medical community was treated there was not very good, and they fought back.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's where patients have to stand up and fight. And that's happening in the Supreme Court right now. Neil knows all about that. Courtroom 30 with Rob and John. I think Neil's going to come up here and talk. And Chad and Dean. There's a lot of people, lawyers, we know that...
We have a lot of incredible.
there's Karuna, there's Weeds, there's... who else is involved? Yeah.
Oh yeah, Neil Magnuson.
So Neil's being involved. But I mean, we're right now, a lot of the clubs are... And a lot of these clubs who have paid to be open, a lot of these clubs that are member-driven, that are compassionate clubs, that are there for patients, are being threatened right now to being shut down. Or basically, on October 17th, it's black and white. We've been living in a gray area for a long time. But as it stands right now, unless the judge makes a decision, it's black and white on October 17th. These clubs are really not able to
I don't think
be
they're
open.
going to move right away, though.
Well, you know what?
Because as soon as they do, you get challenged.
Right.
As soon as anyone makes that move, you're gonna go to court.
And
So this is 50 dispensaries that have gotten together and hired a team of lawyers to respond to the injunctions that were served on them by the city of Vancouver to close down.
Yeah,
If
including
they're not
Cannabis Culture.
successful in defeating that injunction, and the injunction stands, then it would be up to the VPD whether or not they want to enforce that injunction or not. The hookah bar that's on Davie Street has had 2 of those injunctions served on them by the city of Vancouver over the last 20 years. They have not been shut down yet.
That's right.
So it's really hard to say. What's certainly been demonstrated is that there is a gap in the federal legislation with respect to access to medical cannabis in storefront situations. Something that was stated in the Allard decision by Judge Phelan was that it's at the heart of access, these storefront dispensaries. So that's been argued by this bevy of lawyers. John Conroy has come out of retirement for this. Jack Lloyd, who was the lawyer for Mark and Jody in Toronto, is here. Rob Laurie with Ad Lucem is the lead lawyer on this. And Dean Davidson, who's the lawyer for Don with Weeds as well. And they've also got assistants, and there's another lawyer that's been attending the last few days. And so on the other side, we've got a half a dozen lawyers as well. There's the federal government, there's the city, there's the province, all paid for by taxpayers. So it's really, legalization is a horrible thing for the medical users as it stands, because so many of these dispensaries that they've been relying on that have been in this gray area, as Jeremiah mentioned, are now moving to be legal and to get these licenses and to then use only licensed producers and be non-medical by their own definition. So that's very sad that all those places are closing. And the rest of them, this is a test case for the city of Vancouver, but it's really got Canada-wide implications as to how municipalities are going to be able to deal with the dispensaries in their neighborhoods or in their cities that are medical dispensaries, not the non-medical, but these medical dispensaries. Either way, win or lose, the government is going to have to make provision for people to have storefront access to their medical users. That's become very clear in this, and I'm sure the government is listening to that, and they know that's going to be the case. The problem is going to be that the way that they're going to do that, 2 problems. One, it's going to take them a while, and the second problem is that they're going to have a similar type of legalization for medical cannabis dispensaries as what they've done for recreational cannabis, and that is that it'll all have to come from these licensed producers, all of these current suppliers of medical cannabis.
It'll come to a supplier. So the licensed producers, like there's so many contracts where Ontario's got 18 or so-and-so's got 22. You got so many licensed producers that are supplying the province. The province then distributes the cannabis to the stores. So every province, and I mean that's what I've been emailing all the provinces and being in contact with them, with Manitoba, Ontario, BC, stuff like that. But each province is like a liquor controller, like the Gaming Act. So they control all of the province. So it's not like, you know, you can order from Tilray or order from Aurora. No, you got to go like the Liquor Control Board. You got to go to the warehouse and buy directly from the BC government or the Ontario
however, it's going to
government.
be, the key word is control, Johnny. And
It's
right
full
there.
control.
It's going to be fully controlled. And in fact, when it comes to medical dispensaries, they're going to be even harsher controls than what they're going to have on these recreational adult use dispensaries.
And the weed is all going to be pre-bagged.
Well, everything's going to come prepackaged.
That's actually one of the issues at play here, and that might be one of the reasons that the whole thing is ruled, you know, that section or that part ruled unconstitutional, is because it's been clearly demonstrated that people need to be able to go in and smell the cannabis and look at it. That's a big part of the communication that happens between a listener and a talker, and
Not just that, it's the bud tender who's created a relationship with that patient.
Thing. If you have no idea what you're about to smoke if you haven't smelled it.
Right.
It could be
Or
anything.
taking a look at it.
You can smell like rot and all sorts of other things in it when it's wrong. So
well, we learned from Prohibition.
Hey,
you don't buy weed that you don't get a good look at.
I'm just saying, but
containers you can't see
cannabis,
it and you got to smell it.
Wait a second here.
Cannabis is a produce product. Could you imagine going into the grocery store and not looking at your produce before you buy it? You buy it in a
100%.
sealed bag that's closed. You can't see inside your apples, and then you get home and open it up.
And there's a picture of apples there.
Yeah.
And that's what's supposed to be in the bag.
Yeah, with a warning that says apples are bad.
100% apple.
Yeah, money back if you're not happy.
With terpenes these days, the scratch and sniff cars and the scratch and sniff business cars that smell like the OG Kush, and they're looking at, I was watching this show, and it was yesterday before, and it was in New York or somewhere, and they opened up this new cannabis bar, and I think it was through MedMan, and it has everything on
Oh, the
on
terp
the
bars?
dial. It's all set up. It looks like it's a whole Apple store, but I mean at the same time you're able to smell some of the scents of the flavors before buying that come in sealed packages and stuff like that. So they're moving forward with what you're saying. Like you're gonna be able to go in, get on your little iPad, it'll be like a touch board, boom, there's a thing. It'll have some. It's coming. They're gonna move.
I want to hold the bud,
industry
Johnny.
is changing so quick, so fast. It's insane.
A scratch
big
pad,
business
though?
is changing.
Yeah,
Well,
I
you
don't know if
what?
I'd
We already-
trust a
we already
scratch
have
pad.
Scratch or sniff cars. It's just United Cannabis to you.
Yeah, but
Cannabis.
that's-
Yeah, but I don't know that I'd trust that they're
That's
actually
But just
using.
think, when you go to
I don't know.
McDonald's or you look at that food up
Look
there,
at McDonald's
what's on
now.
there, it doesn't look like what's on
I
there.
can't believe I went
Exactly.
into McDonald's for the first time, and I don't know how long, but I mean, there was nobody at a till. You went up to like a menu and you pre-ordered.
Yeah, no, I think just point blank, I want to smell the actual bud.
Oh, no, we do.
Yeah. Not a scratch card, not like a.
Oh, I
yeah.
see what
And the
you're
biggest thing, and here's another
Perfect.
thing, where you have to have your cannabis in a container from a licensed producer. If you grow your own and you got 4 plants, and I'm growing 4 plants now, and they're like 4 lights, and they're like 7-foot trees, that cover up like a big size of this room. I can show you how to grow 4 big monster plants, like Remo can too, and other people. But I mean, so now you've got your 5 or 6 pounds of weed at home. You've grown, but you only allowed so how much.
Are you going to package up your own weed and put those warning labels on it, Johnny, just so you're safe?
Well, I have medtainers that have the warning labels.
Yeah, you
on
can
it.
put your own warning on there. No, the whole thing is that it's crazy
no,
as
wait a
hell,
second here.
and it's the med patients
I
that
can't
are
have
in play.
any of these diamonds that I use, or any of these terpene sauces, or any of these extractions in a sense, because where are you getting them from with the new legalization? All of these extractions that all patients use for their pain control or migraine headaches, you can't get anymore.
Well, you won't be able to
not
buy them in a
the
store.
interim.
You won't be able to buy them in a store, but you can still make them yourself or have somebody make them for you. That's within the legislation. But the sad thing about all this is that it's the patients that are at play here. They're the ones who are paying for the dispensaries to have their lawyers. I mean, that's where dispensaries get their money from. The
Dispensaries save
taxpayers are paying for those other lawyers on the other side to argue that these people shouldn't have access to this.
Right.
This is a free country, for God's sakes. These are public
But
servants.
those products, the extracts and the topicals and everything, old people or whoever, patients and stuff, can't make these things for themselves.
Yeah.
They
Or
have
maybe
to
they don't
be
want to.
allowed to have
I
access to
can't
it.
make some of the stuff for myself that I get, and I fucking make everything. It's not like I can go and get a Coles Loose system and get the terpenes that I can get from my
Right.
grow to mix it
But
with.
you can walk into a liquor store, Johnny, and you can get 25 different kinds of whiskey there, and you can get all kinds of other stuff that'll kill you overnight if you consume too much of it. And most of that doesn't even have warning labels on it. And you can walk into any grocery store and any gas station, and you can get commercial tobacco, which kills 6 or 7 million people, every 12 months in the world. And those things are easily accessible for people who want them. You're kind of warned not to eat too much white sugar and processed food, but that's all there for you too. And here we are arguing that sick and suffering Canadians shouldn't have access in a store to walk in and get something that's going to help them with their sickness and their suffering, and get some good advice with that and be able to check it out for themselves. Why the hell shouldn't they have that right? And it is just disgusting to witness these lawyers on the government side talk about, well, it's just an inconvenience. They can go, so what if they can't, they have to go 3 miles to get their weed because there's not a store within that, or who cares, just like let them eat cake is what they're saying. They're saying let them, and they also said there's not that many of them, They said today in court, they said most of the medical cannabis users have homes. So most it's not, it's mostly
That's
most
not true.
homeowners. Well, it is. I mean, most people would have a home, but there's a lot of homeless people that would use cannabis. And they said of the homeless people that use cannabis, most of them don't use it for medical purposes. That's what they said in court today. And
Yeah,
basically,
but
it's just an inconvenience.
Most people don't own their own home, so you can't grow marijuana.
Well, they
in a
didn't mean
home
have a home. We're talking about homeless. Like
Right.
you're not renting, or you don't own. You don't have a home.
Well,
didn't
right,
have
but
a
And they said, and they don't have a home, so they can't get it mailed to them. Oh, yes, they can, says the Crown. They can have it mailed to a friend's house, or they can maybe have some.
For the mail order side.
Yeah, maybe the pharmacist would look at after them, and then somebody else could have and say, well, the pharmacists don't want to look after it for them. Different drug game.
how, Neil, do you think the judge has been responding to what's going on there?
Well, I don't really like his demeanor, and some of the things that he says indicates that he's living very much in the past. He still thinks that it's really important that you have a serious condition before you are allowed to use medical cannabis. In a world where a month from now you're going to be able to go and buy cannabis at recreational stores without any medical need. So
Lord.
he's concerned that people are going to be able to just walk into this store and not have a doctor's approval. They brought out that at the weed store that you can walk in there and they'll confirm your diagnosis, and sometimes they do it with a doctor's note. Other times they do it with other ways that they can confirm your diagnosis. So obviously they're not doing that test of making sure that this is guarded. Their position is it's very, very dangerous. This is very dangerous. We have to really control this seriously here. Well, I mean, these people have rights, but, you know, if they go through our channels, they can get what they want. And those people with barriers, well, you know, we kind of worked out some of that. So it's a way better program than we had before, damn it. Well, back in the day, it was really hard to get
sounds so much worse when you do it in that accent.
Well, and I don't know if it could be any worse. You know, it's just horrible what these people are saying. They're standing there paid for by us to argue that people can't go in and get medical cannabis products in a world where you can buy whiskey and cigarettes and
it's
processed
all bullshit. Of
Well, the
course.
whole
It's
thing
such
is,
bullshit. It's so expensive. It's so ridiculous,
Right.
and it all makes me sick. You know, and something else today happened that's not related, but it maybe is, because not only is this case about, you know, access to medical cannabis through dispensaries, but it'd be access to medical cannabis through other channels as well, like the 420 Farmers Market that's now every Saturday and Sunday again. They're going to go all winter. They're going to do Thornton Park and try to hold that down. But today...
Don't get us kicked out of that park.
I know, and I've had that conversation with them, and they might, because today the VPD decided that the High Hopes Foundation, the OPS, Overdose Prevention Society, should have what they're doing stopped, and they walked in there and took away all the
Sarah Blythe's crew
samples that they had there.
Yeah.
And I was screaming at cops at the lunch break today from court. I mean, it's just disgusting what they've done.
I think we have video of this, don't we,
I
Anil?
think you might, yeah. It's,
I'm pretty sure we do. Let's see this video.
So we're living in dark times for medical cannabis users, and trying to, you know, offset the use of opioids and save your life by, you know, moving to cannabis is a medical thing that people are doing, and the government's not going to let them do that, it seems. You know, so
yeah, it's
watch
pretty
out at Thornton
brutal.
Park, I think, because that's
Here's
another
the,
access
check the
point.
video out here. Or here it is. There.
All right.
Or wait. There.
Sad day.
what's going on?
Video.
This is the OPS just down the street at
They're taking their
11
pot
o'clock
away.
today.
It's a personal vendetta.
Walked in there and
you
stole all the
guys-
edibles that they were making.
And so apparently
Good
they
for
did
you
it
guys
just
taking
because
opiate replacements
they came up
for
and said, "Whose
people."
cannabis is this?"
Yeah.
And Sarah was like, "Am I under arrest or something?"
Good
and then
job,
they're like,
guys.
she's like, "I don't have to say anything unless I'm under arrest." And they're like,
Good
"Okay,
job,
we'll take
good
it."
job,
And
guys.
they took it away.
Good job,
They
guys.
didn't arrest anybody.
They just
Sarah
Yeah,
was
good
back
job-
with
good
a
job,
table
guys.
full of
You guys
cannabis
will
for
be
people
great.
shortly thereafter. Within an hour and a half later, they were back up and running.
Jeez, what a
Bunch of
pointless
bullies.
thing to do.
Oh my God, pointless criminal.
So they walked up and just took it. So
They took it, yeah. Products that were going to be made available to people to use today that now could be back on the street getting whatever it is that they would get in place of that, which would be opioids.
And we've done so much research. We've done so much work, even with Van Doon, with the whole area in that thing. I mean, we were there in 2006.
Neil, how long has she been doing this
How
for?
long has she been doing this?
She
for?
started just after I did, and I've been doing it for just over a year and a half.
I mean,
Right.
And
So
you
it's
know
Probably
what?
over a year.
17
You
months
see
or
me
something
like
like
every
that.
This
one
is
of
the
those
first
where you do a
time
good
the
job,
cops-
by the way, Neil.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
we
Cannabis
already
Substitution
do that.
Project, Neil doing the same
CSP
thing.
team does an amazing job for sure, and so was Sarah. And maybe we're next, eh? Like, we'll
Well-
see what happens on Sunday here.
Do you think it was just some cops that were being aggressive, or do you think this order came from above?
That was a walk.
I mean, I know it's just
If there's
speculation,
aggressive
but-
cops and they find something like that going on, then they need to stop and talk about it to people, and then they need to call it in, and they need to get their supervisor to agree that they should be doing what they're doing. This had to come from,
That was a walk.
people above them.
Dana told me about the interaction, and Dana said what happened was, and I don't know if he saw this firsthand or if he just got this from
I
somebody
think
else.
we
but-
just did.
Yeah, well, yeah, there was that, but apparently what happened before that is what caused the issue, and that was these police came up and said and asked, "Whose cannabis is this?" And I guess Sarah was there and said, "Oh, do I have to? I don't have to give you my name unless you're arresting me. Are you arresting me?" And then I guess they were like saying, "Oh, well, then we'll just take it," and so they just. I think it was maybe just because she stood up for herself.
Sarah's assistant told me that they wouldn't talk to them. That they tried to get them to talk about why they were doing it and what they were doing. That they wouldn't respond. They just took it and left. So there was
Right.
probably some more interaction like you're talking about.
Right.
But
Because sometimes these cops are just being
they didn't
pricks.
give them any real reason.
And they get angry that you
Well-
didn't do the thing they said, and they want you to comply, or they're be spiteful and take your pot away from you. Who knows? Maybe if she was like, I'm doing this. This is our thing. We do. So on and so forth, and was cool about it. Maybe they would have done it. I'm not saying that they wouldn't have. I have no idea, but I'm just wondering what Sometimes cops are motivated by that.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't like a typical raid. where they all of a sudden show up and then boom, you're kind of surrounded,
Right.
and then they move you out of the way and they take
Yeah.
everything. and
It-
they know what
it
to
didn't
do.
seem very organized.
And they've got some sort of
What they did,
authorization, right? And I don't think there was anything like that going on. But there was obviously 4 of them at least. I don't know if I saw more than that in that video, but there was at least 4 of them there. I don't know what's going on, but we need to ask them what's going on. We need to have the journalists of Vancouver ask the city and the police what the hell's going on with that, and use it as a platform to talk about what that service was providing there and how valuable it is and all of that. In fact, we've had far.
I think we should
You
have
can see
people
the same
call
thing
the
with
Vancouver Police Department.
Oh,
So
sure, that too.
I think people that are viewers
That
of
phone
this
number
show,
Call the media.
if you're watching this show, please call the Vancouver Police Department, and we'll get the non-emergency number here so we can save you some
Well, and call the
trouble.
media too, because the media is the ones that actually put the heat on. They're the ones that get to the bottom of things and get questions answered a lot of times. The
But it's always good to flood the police with
It's
phone
hard to
calls.
phone the police. It's hard to phone the VPD. You can phone their emergency line, but that's not really
No,
cool.
you
phone
phone
the
the
non-emergency
non-emergency.
line,
Yeah.
and you wait for quite a while on hold.
Well, that's
and then,
fine.
And then you get a hold of somebody who, well, you tell them what you think, but they're probably not going to give you a public relations person. Depending, you might.
No,
but
no,
it's hard. I've been through it lots of
You
times.
ask to make a formal complaint, and they'll allow you.
Oh yes, you can do that. You can make a formal complaint.
Yeah.
But they want you to come down for that.
No, I've made complaints over the telephone many times.
Well, let's try it, folks. Let's
Yeah.
let's
I
try
have,
it. This
I
is a
have
great
very
test
often,
case.
but if they, that's an intimidation.
I mean, they
technique
may
if
have
they're
killed
like-
people today with what they did. There's a lot of people. I mean, Sarah's been doing this for a year and a half.
Right.
So there's a lot of people that rely heavily on what she's doing there and what we're doing just up the street twice a week. And so that for them now to show up today, and there was a sign there saying, sorry, folks, we don't have, the VPD stole our medicine today. Like I said, within a couple hours, they were back with a table with more. But, that's only because Sarah's brave and knows she's doing the right thing. Had she not felt comfortable doing that, it could have been that all the people that would otherwise get it wouldn't get it today. And the VPD would be responsible for that. Why the hell do they want to be responsible for that? It's not what they're there for.
If you're in Vancouver, the non-emergency number for the local police here, 604-717-3321. Again, 604-717-3321. Wouldn't hurt also to call 311 and make a complaint with the mayor's
City,
office. Yeah.
City, yeah.
Because they will take complaints there as well. 311 is the all things city in Vancouver number.
It's about as low as it gets, doing what they did today. It's about as low as it gets.
Right. Well, we'll see if this is a pattern, if this does happen continually, or if this was just sort of a one-off thing. Sometimes this does happen. We've had cops who are just even at our events. Remember with Marijuana Steve, and we did hug power on him, and that happened at one of our events, and even at the last, what was it? I can't remember which event it was, but we recently, the Global Marijuana March at the Vancouver Art Gallery. Remember the cops that showed up there? They were acting.
They shut down what we were doing there with respect to
They
giving people
were-
access to.
I was like, I got a video of that.
So sometimes it's just if the cops are on scene and they don't like it personally, they'll make a fuss about it because they actually are allowed to.
I don't know. When we did that on July 1st, when Neil got arrested, I think that was targeted.
Oh, that was
That
targeted.
one was, yeah.
That was a
Oh,
full
that
target.
was
They came
absolutely-
in with full
It's funny.
force.
No, that was
They
for
gave
days.
us tickets. I even fought
But-
that ticket, got charged.
Yeah.
So the 420 Farmers Market that's now setting up at Thornton Park on Saturdays and Sundays, I was there last Sunday, was it? Or actually the long weekend. So I think it was the Monday that I was there. And no, pardon me. It was just last Saturday. And there's the cops, 2 of them, that had seen what was going on, seen the cannabis flags and the plants. They had great big plants there. And wandered through and asked what was going on. And then we're standing in the center of it all. They were going to hold it down until reinforcements came, and they were just waiting to hear back from their supervisor. And so I marched over to them and started talking to them about all kinds of good
Giving them
things
the
about
1-2.
what we were doing there. We've called it tung fu for years, and it felt like the old days. And I told them all about how my dad wanted to be a cop, and then how I wanted to respect cops. But then the law's perverted because it undermines our justice system to say that it's a crime to have possession of some.
Well, don't do it to
flowers and
us
stuff.
now, but
You don't want to hear all that.
yeah.
I was talking more to your listener
Needless
there.
to say, you Magnuson them out of the park.
I
right?
did. they decided to go. They said, so, well, I forget what they said. Oh, a couple of different good things, but it was funny. We had a sheriff at the courthouse come and harass us about smoking weed around the corner 2 days ago. We were told that's where the lawyers smoke. We lit up right, kind of, not right in front of the doors, but, we could see the doors, and decided, let's go around the corner. We go around the corner, then we got a sheriff coming there, and he's going to give us shit about smoking weed. Well, Anne's smoking a cigarette. And I said, what? So it's okay for her to be smoking poison? That's all right, but the other medicine, so he gave me a hard time. I gave him a little bit of a hard time, not much, but he said, you want to escalate it? I could escalate it.
It's legal.
And he walked away. Today, he actually came to the courtroom right during proceedings, tapped me on the shoulder, said, could I speak with you out here for a minute? Took me outside and apologized. Wanted to apologize to me for hassling me like that.
Well, why did he? Why do you think what provoked that?
Well, I don't know, but he said he went back in and thought about what I had to say, and decided that he was a little over the top there, and that and I'm right that cigarettes, tobacco, right?
Logic.
And the lawyers all smoked it, and I said, look at all these butts all over here. That's all okay with you, So we started into quite a little conversation about what was going on in the courtroom there, and we're right outside the courtroom doors in a little alcove where he took me to have this apology happen. And now we've been there for 5-6 minutes when one of the lawyers comes out and says, we can hear you in the courtroom. And we were just talking about what was going on in the courtroom and how stupid it was that people had to argue for their right to walk into a store.
Always interrupting court somehow.
We're having fun too there, I must say.
We went off on so many tangents, I can't remember where we were originally here. But.
Well, we're here where we are. And today, and like just about every other day at court, we have a little bit of fun. There are a few of us that show up there. And when we take our breaks, we go out and there's the Crown's half a dozen lawyers there. And it's Andrea and these other people and the city guys there. And so we bug them a little bit. Sometimes I talk directly to them, ask them about this and that they're saying. But today was kind of funny because we stood in a little group right beside where they were in earshot and talked a bit about how they should just look at the charter, man. Look at or pardon me, the Senate report of 2002 where they talked about it prohibiting and restricting is causing more harm and damage, and that's what they're lobbying for. Yeah. And then there was Einstein who talked about how we try to enforce unenforceable laws and it causes disrespect for government. And then there's Jefferson, who said good people break bad laws, and at that point they all picked up their suitcases and walked away. So it was good.
In Magnuson,
I don't think they have much to stand on in there. They keep talking about public health and safety. I'd like to punch somebody.
That's the biggest thing. I'm sorry.
They make me want to punch somebody. They're talking about public safety, and they're making me want to punch somebody for that. Like them. Like stop talking about. They don't give any examples. There's no smoking gun. There's nothing that they come up with where there's, there it is that's causing the damage and the harm. Right. There is no damage or harm. There's no victim that they've presented. There's nobody that gave an affidavit that said I was harmed in any way by non-regulated or self-regulated. And they keep calling it non-regulated, and we've been self-regulated, and people self-regulate with their use, and they should stop saying non-regulated.
Good on you, Neil, for covering it.
Anyway, there you go.
And you can read one of Neil's blogs about it on cannabisculture.com right now.
Another one pending, is there?
There's another one pending.
All right, and there's another one coming right after that because we're not quite done yet.
Oh, yeah, we're not done yet. So you can actually join the court proceedings.
Yeah, next Monday at 10.
This is at the BC Supreme Court at 800 Smythe Street in courtroom 30. So if you're in Vancouver, come down.
Scheduled to go all week, but it won't go. They're already at least 2 days ahead. So probably wrapping up Wednesday, I would say, next week.
Well,
so
I think on the
closing
last
arguments
day,
will probably be made. In fact, now after a week of listening to the damn government just, picking on poor sick people and telling them, too bad for them, basically, or they can make it work within our system is what they're trying to say.
Man,
and
I wish I could have been there.
It's horrible to listen to that. Now we get to have, the dispensary lawyers come back at them on Monday and give their rebuttal, which I'm sure they're going to rip them to shreds because, like I say, they came up with no victims, no justification, no smoking gun.
Same thing with the
So that's how far we are. The court has given their side. Good. Well, I'm glad I missed all the shit, so...
It's been entertaining to a degree, although, like I say, it's tough to watch and recognize how much money's at play here and what they're talking about. Cannabis is the safest therapeutically active compound in the marketplace, known to man.
Yeah.
And so to be arguing about, restricting it and not too close to schools and let's protect the children, oh my God, and public health and safety.
But again, it's all personal attitudes, even when it comes to the court. And I swear, I've been through lots of these court cases, and every time it all depends on the judge's person. It just depends on his personality,
and he's stuck
his
in the
own
past.
worldview.
He doesn't like lawbreakers. That's another
Right.
thing. He said, we in Canada believe in the rule of law. And I'm like, not so much,
You shouldn't be
I
grunting
didn't
loudly.
grunt. I didn't make any. But to me, I'm grunting inside my head, right?
They hate
Inside my
that.
head, I'm fucking screaming.
There's
I was
nothing
with
they
Neil.
hate worse than that.
I don't disrupt the court, do I?
You stopped the proceedings.
For
Today.
a good long
Because the
breath.
sheriff came and wanted to apologize to me.
No, because you were like very dangerous right after the city council.
Neil,
speaking for a second.
stop it,
And
Neil.
everyone
I
else
was
there.
there.
Tell the judge was aside.
Don't
like,
be doing that.
Did he hear that? That said very dangerous.
That's it to the story there.
Well,
Well, actually, you did today, Neil.
I hate this whole system. You got to stand there saying, my lord this and my lord that, and your honor and your honor. You just stand and say, hey, man, my rights are being violated here. And if you got a wise bone in your body, you'll do something about it. But that's not the way
you
it
know,
works.
I have to stick up for Neil. That's because I was there on Wednesday,
Yeah.
and probably 15 minutes in, I had to get up and walk out.
Yes.
Literally,
It's hard to be
because
in there.
It is painful to
it's-
watch.
It's literally extremely painful.
But
Yeah.
but it has the opposite effect than the one that you'd really want. So if you're trying to be strategic about it, you don't piss the judge off.
I don't think I did.
No.
Like Anil said, he maybe considered it for a moment.
Yeah.
But I've been there every day. I've been polite. Which is it? I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
I give a little bow to the room when I walk in. And,
Because
that's
it's
a
called.
very
I'm dressed like this because I don't want to,
It's
you know.
just respect to the judge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I
It's just
do try to give him
Don't
respect.
try to make sense of it,
or
Neil.
her space.
They wear weird big robes, and in some cases they even wear powdered wigs.
No, they're
and
all
shit.
just in suits wearing glasses. They're all in suits wearing glasses.
So I gotta wear my glasses when I come on.
I have a lot of faith in the team. The legal
Yes.
team that's there, those are four very brilliant, well
Brilliant
motivated
legal minds.
people.
Yeah.
I really,
They are.
I like what they're all about and what they're doing
Well, I'll
here.
be
And I really trust
messaging
them a
Rob
lot.
in the morning and wishing you guys all good luck and talking with him in the morning Messenger and sharing the posts and getting behind and watching everything through.
We need
my
these
house.
guys on the show as soon as possible. I just don't want to bug them while they're doing it. I've talked to all of them, Rob and Jack. I haven't talked to John, but all of them will eventually come on the show to
keep using
discuss
your
what
torch,
went
Neil.
down.
This
But
one.
I do have to say, I really love Jack.
Yeah, Jack's amazing.
Yeah, he's got a lot of, I don't know, just a spicy sort of thing about him. He's
brings a
really,
lot of energy.
He's got a lot of pizzazz.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he really does. He's energetic, and it actually brings some faith back because to me, the other lawyers, as much as I love all of them, they're all amazing. It's all very, it just doesn't have that punch. And I love, though Kirk can be pretty punchy sometimes. And actually John, I don't know, John can also be punchy. Maybe I'm wrong completely, but
Now you're remembering all the
yeah,
punchy
I'm
moments
remembering
of all
some
of them.
punch. But,
Sure, they
but
all
Jack,
do, but
though-
Jack really he engages in a different way,
And he engages as his, because Jack's my lawyer now as well. He engages his clients in a different way, and that's what I really like.
I see.
Like what I've seen in court has been not too huge, but the way that he talks to me is awesome, and I love it. He makes me feel like we have a shot.
I think we got a good shot.
You have a
Like you
great
say, it
shot.
depends a lot on the judge. The judge doesn't like that. Like he still thinks these are lawbreakers that really shouldn't be given much respect with respect to who the dispensary people are.
Yeah.
And I don't like that very much. And I don't know.
I didn't.
We'll see what happens. We'll see. I'm disappointed. I'm this way. I'm a little depressed because I just witnessed a week of this side given their case, and
Right.
to hear them up there doing that, and you
Yep.
don't know how serious the judge is taking all that, and you hope that he's thinking what you're thinking about how what they're saying is just ludicrous and
But luckily, we
a
get to go
farce.
second.
But we went first. They went second.
Right.
Now it's the rebuttal to what they said. And like I said,
Yes.
I suspect
I guess
that they're
that's
going to really rip them a new one because they really left themselves open to that because it's disgusting the way that they're
But the rebuttal is where the
trying to
shit
just
matters.
minimize our freedom.
Yeah.
We are free, and the government recognizes that, but only free to a limit. And the government's not going to give any more than that limit. They don't want to give a little inch because that might mean a mile, and and then it could all be abused.
Yes.
And and they're just trying to protect people from addiction. They said that today too.
Get down to court. The rebuttals are actually really fun because you get to watch our lawyers deconstruct their argument completely.
It'll be
And
fun.
that-
It'll be
just
fun.
that, but
Yeah.
you're supporting
Monday,
the
Tuesday,
industry that you're
Wednesday
fighting
will be
for.
fun next week. So, and like you say, don't disrupt the court. I have not been disrupting.
yes, no
Yeah.
grunting loudly.
So we're gonna
No, I
have
was
to-
not doing any of that.
We're actually gonna be
Neil's right. There was one
duct-taping.
time today where I said dangerous because it was just ridiculous what they were saying.
Neil,
like fuck. You
You've
can buy
learned
whiskey,
already.
damn it.
City Council doesn't like that either.
I know, but we used to have a more boisterous society, a more boisterous way of expressing ourselves, and we've gotten very rigid in making sure that people only speak one at a time, and they're very da-da-da. And really, we should be engaged a little more with the public servants and with the public servants back with us.
Yeah.
And just a little bit more of that would be nice, because we are expressing our opinions there, and really, there's not room to do that. You're not even really supposed to smile broadly, I don't think, when you're sitting in the courtroom.
It's my God-given right to throw rotten produce at politicians.
And judges. And judges.
I don't think it is.
Well,
actually,
God-given. God-given. Not by any of these man-made constructions
Not
we
sure
have.
that the law.
I'm going to go do this. I'm going to let Opus have a word. Cannabis Substitution Project. Check us out on Facebook. Come and support us. Maybe you'll have the cops shutting us down there this coming Sunday.
Yes.
But no, we have a
Thank you,
huge
Neil,
lineup
for
of people. We need more
hijacking the
donations.
show.
2 times in a row now, we've actually had to turn away dozens of people without giving them anything, because we'd already given out the 1,000+ edibles and joints that we have to give out to people. So. It's become very popular. Work. We've heard people are coming from as far away as White Rock. They're coming from New Westminster and Coquitlam just to get a care pack to help them get through to the next time and not use the street drugs and die. So, yeah.
Well, you guys are absolutely doing fantastic work there, Neil.
Yeah,
it is
really good job.
Thanks, Jeremiah. Thanks for having me on.
Fantastic.
Yep. And good work on the
Piper.
court stuff.
Good
We'll
work.
have you back very soon. And
Well, you know what? Fantastic work being done
Phenomenal
by
work.
Neil Magnuson
and Sarah Blythe as well.
Sarah.
Oh, for sure.
Sarah.
And that's
Gonna
on.
cause a small fire, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Just a small fire.
Let me just lean this up against the fire.
So.
But stay safe out there, Neil.
Yeah.
Watch out for the.
Well, you
Fuzz.
know,
I'll
the
see you
fighting down
Monday,
with these
Neil.
kids.
I'll see you Monday morning.
But
Before I go, Saskatoon
Before-
Harvest Cup coming up. I'm going to be there. It's going to be a great time. I'm sure you're going to talk about it. Make sure you do.
yes, in fact, we have Jeff on the show today. We're going to get to that
Jeffrey.
soon. But yes, Neil Magnuson will be at the Prairie Medicinal Harvest Cup. That is September 28th to 30th
You driving, Neil?
in Saskatoon.
There you go, buddy.
Now, before
Just down the street.
I know where it is.
Before we got kind of sidetracked, we were talking about the Georgia Straits event that they're having in town here, the Grassroots Expo.
But
and
that was the best storytelling time ever.
that
That
was.
was amazing.
Right there.
that was
No, those aren't tickets.
Those aren't tickets.
But,
I was thinking
don't
tickets
worry,
for
you'll
this
have
grassroots
tickets.
thing.
tickets.
Fine.
Oh yeah, so the Georgia Strait has been doing a lot of really great stuff on the cannabis side of things lately. They've really in the past
Well, they
couple
have been
years,
for a long time.
jacked
They've
it up.
supported us and been writing stories.
And it's
as long as I
mostly
remember.
this one here that's doing it.
No, I mean, I just have been a recent addition to it. It was Amanda Siebert, and
That's true. Amanda
yeah,
was
she
amazing.
built up Straight Cannabis in the beginning. She's been incredible
right.
journalist, and she, brought me in and kind of made me part of this community. And I was in love with the stuff I was writing, so I've just kind of tried to take as much of it as I can and keep it going, and just tell the right stories, because not everybody's looking
Speak
in the
the
right
truth.
direction.
Yeah. Well, and I like that what you do is just not a superficial glaze over like everybody else does. Like all the, whenever you read a cannabis story in the mainstream, they just aren't really getting to the actual heart of the issues. So it's nice to have somebody actually representing it from that side. That
Appreciate it.
yeah, and the Georgia Strait has historically, in the past, been very cool with the cannabis issue. Although I have to say, I think before Amanda sort of did get there, they had kind of fallen off on that side a little bit. They weren't really pressing for those stories very much. I had some friends who were there at the Georgia Strait and stuff. But
Sure,
I
yeah.
think it's very cool. And
I
Amanda
think it's cool that it's been
did
kind
do
of
it
brought
very-
back to life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Amanda she's not working with you guys anymore? She
No, she is the author of a book. She's got her book launch coming up.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very
So she took some time off to work on that and
Very
do some
cool.
other projects, and I know she's getting back into photography again and taking some time to do that. So
very cool. Yeah, I see her online a lot. So and a book, that's very cool. Yeah, we should have her on the show.
yeah,
Johnny?
for sure.
But yeah, so that's happening this weekend. Tickets are still available at. I always forget the
Craftcannabisweekend.ca.
craftcannabisweekend.ca.
Yeah.
That's the name of this website where you can find tickets. They're available. And actually, if you go to pot.tv, I put a link directly to the tickets so you can go and grab them
Sweet.
just off today's show notes.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
How many speakers do you have at the event?
44 overall.
44
I think,
speakers.
Yes, so that was the last count. And so we have, some of them are doing their own workshop 101s and their own kind of stand-up little presentations on their topic, and then some are panels. So it's
I
a
remember last year
mix of both.
I went through the panels and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And it was really good to actually learn a lot about stuff I've already learned that in the past, but to more educate yourself on what's coming for the future.
Yeah, for sure.
And a lot of us, we think we know what's happening, but I mean, definitely come down and learn, because there's going to be a lot of stuff going on here in the near future.
For sure. It's going to be an incredible set of speakers, an incredible set of topics. I'm super, super proud of each and every one of them. So, I mean, for us to be able to put on something with advocates, and change makers like Jamie Shaw and those guys in the same space as Health Canada, and kind of bring those two worlds together, I thought it was, pretty cool. We achieved what we wanted to achieve.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And roughly, did you tell us how many vendors are going to be there at the expo party?
It's a great question. I don't remember.
All right. It's all good.
It's all listed on craftcannabisweekend.ca.
Beautiful.
Some of our main sponsors are LPs. So we got Aurora and Tweed. Then we got
Aurora and Tweed?
I'm sorry?
Aurora and Tweed?
Aurora and Tweed, yeah. And then we got Crop King Seed sponsoring the lounge. We got Weeds.
Nice.
Yeah, Weeds is going to be there.
Well, if you would have asked Medtainer to sponsor something, I probably would have helped you out.
Well, they can't follow you around, Jimmy.
I know, I'm kidding.
We
I love it that.
out there.
Yeah, no. I'm so.
You got to get on the mailing list, buddy.
I am on the mailing list now, I think.
Yeah, I'm surprised Carol hasn't called you up.
Yeah, no. I'm kidding. I get so many different emails, and I sponsor so many different events. But no, but it definitely is something that I believe in. Is a lot of the talks and stuff like that. So that's why I show up to these events, and I normally try to sponsor the ones that I or support.
Yeah.
And I do support what education's going on with the grassroots and what Georgia Strait's doing. And
Well, we got to get a straight cannabis medtainer going.
You need one.
Oh,
for
well,
Let's
sure.
do that collab.
Definitely.
So definitely do a collab with that. But I'm looking forward to it, because I'm going to be showing up tomorrow. So.
Sweet.
And it's at the SFU
Exciting.
Downtown Harbor Center in Vancouver. And you can still get tickets when you arrive at the door, right?
Yes, you can.
And how much are tickets?
$20 for either day, so Saturday or Sunday, or $30 for both.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's cheap. Considering the education you're getting. You can't do anything all day for $20 these days. Like, really? You can't. It's like $20 all day. It's like, wow,
Like,
that's
still do a few
cheap.
things.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how much a movie is almost to go watch now. It's like,
No, that's from the popcorn.
That's like half of it.
Yeah,
Because
that's
then
what-
you have to like smuggle your own food in at that point.
I had a
Like,
$15
$20.
gift certificate to go to popcorn, to go to a movie and get popcorn, and it's like I think I had to pull like $4 out of my pocket.
$20 will get you
really
an
expensive.
apple pie, a bunch of bananas, and a bag of apples at the grocery store, and that's about
Oh,
it.
there you go. Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Yeah,
$20
that's
will
about
get
it.
you
grocery store.
at
the
an
grocery
all-day
store,
event
literally.
with a bunch of
Does anybody do
cool,
that anymore?
like-minded people
I just
talking
do
about
DoorDash
cannabis.
now.
Yeah, well,
Although
no.
DoorDash is like,
I've never used that. Like
DoorDash?
everybody keeps telling me about this, and I'm like,
DoorDash is
oh,
pretty
I don't know.
awesome.
Do you see
can order
how-
from any restaurant and they just deliver it to your door. But it's not cheap though, because there's like a fee for the delivery, and then of course it's restaurant food, so it's so expensive. A couple nights ago, I ordered like
I was on the
from
front cover of
Joey's.
Political.
Johnny loves. I ordered from Joey's on DoorDash, and I got like 3 items, like an apple pie, chili chicken, and some sliders, and it was like $50-something after everything. And then I fell asleep. And then the guy he was trying to get a hold of me and rang my buzzer, but I was out cold, so I woke up at 5 in. No, gone. So you don't get your food if you fall asleep. So there's $50 down the
See,
toilet.
yeah, I would do that, but like walking from my place to get food is my only exercise. So if I gave that up, I'd just be driving from place to place and sitting in my apartment.
You
Yeah.
should
Terrible.
see how many
Yeah, it's
ads
like-
are on Craigslist for DoorDash drivers. Every day there's at least a dozen ads
People
for
are getting
drivers.
It must be
lazier and
busy.
lazier.
They can't. No, people don't have their own cars. Don't want to do that work. It's very difficult to make any money in your car driving around doing
Right.
that, especially in Vancouver traffic. Yeah.
It's like,
For
well,
sure.
if they let Uber, isn't
No,
Uber
Uber's
coming now?
doing
It's going
Uber's
to be
doing something else.
legalized
So
too?
it's Uber.
No,
Uber
Lyft
Eats.
is the
Uber
big
Bites.
one now.
Uber Eats is another thing that's like
Uber
DoorDash.
Eats. Well,
Same
they already
thing.
have SaveTheDishes.com. I see those.
Skip the dishes.
Skip the dishes.
There's ads for those guys too.
I mean, come on,
There's
it's
lots
like
of
so.
those.
So all you need is your car, and some guy's gonna drive you some food to your house. I don't trust that. I don't know.
You don't trust it.
I don't know. It's like skip
What's
the
he gonna
dishes,
do to
but
it?
I don't know, but just it's
Poison
like
it.
I'm not happy about it. It's
Well,
like
I think
anybody skip the dishes. And
But
like,
what's
yeah,
they delivered Chinese food and pizza to you. What's the
I
difference?
know, but that's the guy who works at the Chinese store. His dad owns it, so he's the kid that delivers the pizza or the food. Or, I don't know.
Very paranoid.
I'm done.
Yeah, paranoid.
So cook at home. It's good for you.
It is. Cook at home. Fresh vegetables, fresh fruits.
It is. I mean, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's cheaper too.
Oh.
A hell of a lot cheaper.
Yeah, it is.
It's not like the grocery store is cheap, but it's cheaper than DoorDash.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
$50 sliders
Yeah, exactly.
and a
No, I
piece
was
of
like,
pie.
50
Hey, you know what?
something. I was like, this better be
was-
delicious when I ordered, and then.
Good lord! And then
woke
you
up
got to
with
tip
that.
the guy
Back to
on
the
top of that.
dispensaries.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what?
you do.
I was at a dispensary out Motocan out on Abbotsford, and wow, you know what? I can't believe the selection and the ones that I was in today and stuff like that.
Of
It's
cannabis
just
products.
It's amazing.
I know.
All the different edibles and all the different kind of bags and all the different tinctures and oils and CBD this, that, and
is.
CBD crystals and terpene sauces to diamonds and this and
And it's all illegal.
I'm a patient. I grow my own item, but I walked in and I was like in a candy store. I was like, holy fuck! Look at this shit.
It's very cool. Even going to.
And like I don't go to a lot of clubs, and I haven't for a long time. It was back in the days when we started clubs. There was only so many strains you had on the menu, and you had some pills or something like that. But today it's just like say they've got like little treats, this, that, and I'm really scared that what they've created and what the government's going to do here and coming the 17th of really a lot of these guys, they're going to try and stay open. I've been talking to a lot of club owners on what their feel is, what they're going to do on the 17th, and shit. It's getting back to those days. What's going to happen here?
It's going to be an all-out war, you think, John? I don't know.
Well, it's not just an all-out war. It's been a gray area. Now it's black and white. Right? So
I think, as always, people will adapt. If people want to still stay in business and sort
you're
of
still
work,
going to stay in business.
you're gonna find ways to do that.
Here's the thing. The government's federal rules on this whole thing actually do allow you to make new like extracts and topicals and all those things, but it's not going to be put in play for a little while still, right?
A couple of years,
Yeah.
at least.
Well, I think
You can't get this.
it's coming.
But
never
you
be able to
realize,
get this.
but you
But-
realize that we don't wait.
Right.
People aren't going to wait.
But they're
People are still
already-
moving
Patients
forward.
can't
Yeah,
wait.
but they will give you a license for this stuff. So if you want to be a microprocessor, you can get a microprocessing license.
Very good.
Tight-
And that would
tight
allow
rules.
you to do things like develop extracts.
Got 11 minutes on
And
parking.
then there's a whole bunch of different licenses that are now available or
Okay.
going to be available soon that account for all of this stuff. But
I am not up
when
on the regs.
The rollout is not going to happen all at once, and in the first round there won't be any of that stuff. And in fact, is Dana in the room?
He's right there.
Dana's here.
Hello.
Dana.
Hi, Dana.
Dana, just a quick. You
Can
can
you-
yell
can
at
you-
us from across the room if you
Or
You
want.
come
need
over
to
here.
get you to the
I'll
microphone.
sit down.
Or you can come and sit down. No, I had a question. I had a question for you about because you had a conversation on the phone with Mike Farnworth.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, and did he not mention something about it's going to be very hard to enforce anything if they don't have edibles in dispensaries, or what was that you were talking about?
He gave me half an hour. I bugged his office quite a bit to talk to him, and he gave me half an hour on the phone with him, and he also had like a couple of his assistants and other people from the cannabis thing on there. I'm not sure quite exactly what you're talking about. I asked him a bunch of things. One of the things I said is, how come you're not allowing cities to license vapor lounges or smoking lounges, right? The rule is no smoking in any workplace. And I said, you should have said, except if a city gives you a permit, then cities could experiment with licensing places, and there's supposed to be a big experiment, see what works. He said, well, no, with the workers' compensation, you can't allow that, but they're going to legalize these drinks soon, and the beverages. And the implication was, oh, well, you can do like a bar where you can go in and drink all your cannabis, you don't need to smoke it, and then everybody's happy. And I think you should have the option of drinking your cannabis, but people inhale cannabis for a reason, right? It's safer, it's better, you can titrate your dose better. Encouraging everyone to eat instead of smoking cannabis is going to cause more car accidents. They think cannabis
Ridiculous.
impaired driving. Smoking isn't impairing. Drinking a bunch of weed drinks can be
ridiculous.
impairing, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it's backwards on this, right? They're
He
only
doesn't
thinking about the
understand
smoke.
cannabis, obviously.
They do not understand cannabis. They're writing laws around stuff they don't get. I even said to him, okay, so no one can see your 4 legal plants. I said, People are going to be calling the police on their neighbors. It just takes one person in town who hates cannabis to walk around town on their tippy toes and call the cops over every cannabis plant they see. And he said, "Oh, that'll be a bylaw inspector, it won't be the police." And I said, "No, that's the police, dude." And his assistant had to correct him and say, "Well, actually, if a city wrote a bylaw against letting you see their plants, then they could send the bylaw inspector. But no, it's going to be the cops. You think the cops?" And maybe some cops want to bust people for having 4 plants, but I don't think that even cops, like, they want to spend their time on that. I'm thinking about organizing a thing of, like, maybe getting 4 little plants, putting them in my front yard, and calling the cops on October 18th. "Hey, VPD, I'm turning myself in. My 4 plants are visible from the street. Come get me," and see what they do. And
Hey, I did
and
this.
see if they react or not. I think it would be great if we can get people all across the province to do this and turn themselves in for their 4 plants. I don't know if everyone's going to want to do that or not, right? But I mean, well, you can grow 5.
No, but I
Oh, because to make it 5. Okay, I see. To have an extra one, yeah.
What's the difference?
Well, that's But I mean, to open, I think we should be pushing these things and violating that stuff. But they don't understand cannabis, and they've written a bunch of laws that are really not enforceable, right? Like,
right. I thought for some reason that you had described to me a situation where he said something about the constitutionality issue around edibles because of Allard or because of the Smith case, or talking about how he thought, well, things aren't, they're not going to have those legalized till 2019 or something.
Well, yeah, next year, he was very confident it would be next year. They said it's going to be a year after legalization. It'll be a year. It'll be next fall. And I said it's going to be longer than a year, right? But
yeah.
But I don't know if he said something specifically about the edibles and the legalization and the thing. But I think he was saying they know that's coming, and that if you just wait a year, then you can just hang out with all the drinkers and just drink your cannabis, and everything will be get it from Molson's or whatever, and everything will be fine, right? And so if you want to drink your cannabis, it should be allowed. I'm not against cannabis drinks, but if a company that sells alcohol is also selling cannabis drinks, they're going to be encouraging people to mix the two together. And if you want to mix alcohol and cannabis, you should be able to, but it shouldn't be encouraged and be like the way we want you to do it, and you can only drink your cannabis, and it's brought to you by Molson's. Like, people are going to mix the shit together, and that causes problems, right? They're not best not mixed together. So encouraging this kind of stuff is going to be a problem.
No, and it's just weird that he thinks that he doesn't understand that there's a whole culture of people there already that like extracts and edibles or all the other things that are there and like.
Do we think people who drink alcohol would all want to vape their beer instead?
Right.
No, people do vape alcohol occasionally, right? You can get really drunk, and but for 99.9% of alcohol users do not want to vape. They like the taste of their whiskey, even though it's disgusting. They like the taste of this stuff, right? There, people who are into it, they want that whole cultural experience. They don't want to just to ignore that for cannabis is bad.
Are these weed drinks? Well, we were just talking about it.
Oh, those are CBD infused.
CBD infused.
Well, and CBD infused beverages, although they're going to have CBD infused beer, which is fine. It's better than not CBD infused beer, I guess. People will be saying, "Oh, my beer's healthy. It's got CBD in it now.
CBD infused.
I can get as wasted as I want, and it's good for you."
So it doesn't take too much THC to this, too. Or different cannabinoids and have different ratios and stuff like that. But I mean, what a percentage is in here, and what's going to be the legal limit? 3%, 5%.
I bet they're going to be low. I bet they're
going to be low. 3 milligrams, I think, is what our maximum is. You're going to have a little drink. It's going to have 3 milligrams of THC.
The ones that I've seen, the beer companies that I've seen saying it's going to be a sessionable drink. So you can have a sessionable drink. So you can have a few of them during the football game or something.
So they're going to be fairly. It's just 300 milligrams
it's just not how cannabis users, and you don't want that. I don't want to drink something and then wait an hour to see if I've got a feeling I enjoy and then
40
have
minutes.
more. Like, that's like not what
I don't
you
like
want.
edibles.
An hour? You don't absorb that quick, yeah?
Well, how long is it? I don't know. Whatever, half an hour, an hour. I don't know how long it takes, but like it takes.
Johnny, what flavor is that?
This one's grapefruit.
That's
grapefruit.
grapefruit.
I'll try that one.
Yeah.
There's lemon. Citrus and
CBD
melon
infused.
as well.
So it's citrus soda, sorry.
Yeah, I'll have one of those ones.
That was also citrus?
But I don't know. Anyways,
wait, can I see it for a second?
I get all these lovely drinks.
CBD infused sparkling citrus soda. It's the same as those ones, but a different color. Maybe
I was talking to...
Yeah, so I'm not against the drinks.
I was talking to a geneticist, Ryan Lee. He's a plant breeder and a geneticist the other day. And we were talking about CBD drinks, and he's like, just remember that CBD is actually, oil soluble as well. So when it mixes with all this stuff, Yeah, it goes into the drink. It mixes in, but then it sticks to the walls, and you're pretty much just drinking like the trace amount.
I'm pretty much
The
saying that over and
absorbability
over
is
and over.
an issue.
It's not actually a good medical like.
Shake it.
Like wait, oh maybe.
Even if you shake it, but the whole
Mix
thing
it.
is cannabinoids are fat soluble.
Don't shake it.
So even by putting a drop of oil in there or anything like that, but it separates. And I've always talked about this is and putting
not a
water
good consumption
soluble.
method.
You know what?
Sugar.
Made with cane
CBD,
sugar,
so it shouldn't get
it's
as high,
made into
right?
sugar, and then the sugar's evolved into.
What good is it then?
One of them is made.
Well,
I've been
CBD can be
taking
okay.
really high-powered CBD tincture drops
Yeah.
because I slipped the disc in my back, so I thought maybe it would help. And I'm not sure. I don't really know if it's helping or not.
I got a really bad back. THC, high amounts of it, and CBD.
Does it help?
That's what works for me.
I took a pure CBD dab the other day when I was like a little too high, and it took me like all the way back down. And I was like, oh, this is great.
There you
It's
go.
like the off button.
We got to do that. We got to have a CBD booth at our
CBD
420.
walks THC.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know how it works. But did you eat too much or did you smoke too much?
No, I smoked too much.
Yeah, see, people normally are tripping out because they ate too much in our events.
yeah.
I'd love to see if like giving them a CBD dab would bring
Our
them
parking
down
lot
or,
don't
And it would,
or not.
it would
or-
be hard to tell somebody like, oh, you smoke too much? Here, smoke this.
Yeah,
You know, and-
here, smoke more.
Yeah.
Trust me,
Yeah,
it'll
it
work.
tastes
good
like
one.
CBD diamonds.
Here, have this.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I don't know.
Might freak them out a little bit. Then they gave me this weird white powder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just could just see the newspaper article about it. Yeah. Yeah, they'll have those same journals. It'll be on Drex.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be a big,
It
huge
would be
story.
bad. It would be bad. It would bad optics.
Drex. So were you on Linda Steele
Today?
yesterday? I don't know, recently?
I don't know, probably.
How often
yeah,
do you go on
probably.
there?
I do a lot of media. I do a lot of interviews every week, so sometimes I forget. But I was on Linda Steele a while ago. No, Kirk was on the other day. Kirk
Was on.
I was on Drex last night.
You were on Drex last night.
I did 2 interviews. I did Drex last night and something else during the day.
I was getting you guys twisted.
I talked to a few reporters today about the raid on Sarah Blythe's place, the overdose prevention site. Did you guys talk about that at all?
Yeah, we did.
Oh yeah. We supply most of their cannabis, right? That they sell and give away there. And the cops, like the first big seizure, the first seizure of anybody doing cannabis in the city, and it's the overdose prevention site. Like, how do they prioritize that place over everybody else? And then what didn't get reported is after she was tweeting about it, right? The cops left. 9 cops came back about 20 minutes later and were like, because she tweeted, cops walked past a bunch of fentanyl dealers to come and steal the marijuana from our thing. So they came back and they were like, you said there was some fentanyl dealers around here? Where's the fentanyl dealers? We'll go bust them. And Sarah's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, what the hell? 9 cops all come by and they're all like, where's the fentanyl dealers? We'll get them. And she's like, I'm not going to point out fentanyl dealers to you so you can, like, that's your job. And it's not like they should be targeting the opium dealers either or whatever, but the whole thing is just them coming back, 9 cops to intimidate her and hang out at the overdose prevention site. And it's just not, like, the VPD aren't great, obviously, but they're better than a lot of other police forces around the country. Certainly, we've got a tolerance thing going on in Vancouver for cannabis. Yeah. We have a great relationship with the VPD for 420 and stuff. They're always super friendly, helpful. So I don't know who decided, but she was on CTV News about a week ago, with a profile on her place giving away cannabis. I think that was the news. I think somebody didn't like it being in the news and went down there to try to mess with it. But I mean, they had new cannabis out again in 15 minutes. They kept doing what they're doing. We brought them new stuff. It's just like, I think I got more cannabis to donate than the police have patience to come and take it away. So we'll see who gets tired first, right?
Well, and I mean, just is such a weird counteractive thing now that they know that these studies are showing that cannabis helps people. It's been in all the media. Like, I think this is going to backfire because the media is actually paying attention to this.
I think it's actually going to help us in a lot of good ways.
That was the strange thing too. Was it's a very sensitive time right now, and the media is watching cannabis. Yeah. So why would you do something as careless as that?
Yeah,
like, that's not. That
no, it
does not
seems like
make
I
it
actually
good.
think that's why I kind of think it was rogue cops or something.
I think it's gonna. I mean, it's not acceptable and it's wrong, but I think it's actually gonna. Because Sarah Blythe is running for city council, and she's gonna be a great city councilor. If you're watching this, sarahblythe.ca. Go to her page, donate her some money, and if you live in Vancouver or the Lower Mainland, donate some time. Come help out. If you're upset about this kind of stuff happening, get her on city council. She has a pretty good chance of being elected. Mm-hmm. She was on park board before. She's been elected to city office. She's very well known. She's got a lot of love and a lot of respect for her. And this just got another 1,000 votes and $1,000 in donations that came in today because of this happening. So we've got to use this to our advantage and use it to draw attention and to get people on board and to show this is happening. You know, VPD say we haven't arrested anybody, we don't charge anybody for marijuana. Well, that's true. People still get harassed for drugs all the time. They still get arrested. They still get stuff seized. They just don't get actually charged. And that has more to do with not the courts not being able to deal with all these charges than it does with the magnanimity of the VPD not charging people, right? Like,
yeah, totally. Huh. Well, I don't know. It just seems like a crazy thing. I think
Me
the
and Jared
backlash
both looking
will
at
be
our
swift, though. Like
it's gotten huge. Mark Tyndall, the head of the BC Centre on Disease Control, has come out against the raid. Yeah. The BC Centre on Substance Use came out against it. A lot of people are tweeting. And it's good because it makes all the people running for city council now have to say how they feel about this happening. Yeah. And a few of them have already posted and tweeted saying this isn't good or whatever. A few of them, like Sarah Kirby-Young, our friend at the park board, she's running for city council. She said, I need to get more information first before I can. It's like, okay, well, when you call me up, I'll give you more information. Give us, how much time do you need, right? But
did somebody ask her about it?
Well, I tweeted, how do you feel about this? And I tagged all those people running for mayor. I tagged everybody running for city council. Good. And a few of them posted, some of the independents posted comments saying this isn't right. And I just talked to this police guy yesterday. I don't know why they're doing this or whatever, but this will help make it an issue. And, if we can get this to be where the police officially leave it alone, then that means we can start donating cannabis to other supervised injection sites and overdose clinics. So some of them want it, but they don't want to get in trouble, and they're not really sure. And I've talked to a lot of these overdose places and people who run them, and like, if we can get it to, because Sarah also didn't really want to come out at first with the cannabis. She gets money from the province and from the city to help run her place, and she's worried that if she's too radical, they're going to cut off her funding, and it'll mean harm to a lot of people, right? So she wasn't trying to get too much attention to it, but now this is... I'm like, just let's get attention. I'll go in the media. I don't care, right? I think attention is good. Yeah. It gives you strength when you have attention, right? It's true. The police don't like attention. It shines a light on stuff.
It shines a light.
And so, and I don't, if the province said, oh, we're going to cut your funding because you're giving away marijuana to addicted people, like, I just have trouble seeing that happening, like, maybe it would, and if it did, it would be bad because she needs that funding too, right? But
it would force a dialogue on the issue.
Yeah, I think forcing the issue is good, and I would like it if the result of this is that the VPD leave her alone, everyone knows what she's doing, and nobody minds, and then we can get other places to start doing it too, and make cannabis more available through other clinics as well for those people that need it.
Yeah, well, definitely. I guess we just have to keep pressing forward. It's kind of a lot of unknown future times at the moment here. It's strange. Yeah. Even just what's going to be in the near future is unknown. Like even just a year from now.
I'm excited about the future. I know there's a lot of people that are very negative about this bill, and there's tons of flaws and tons of reasons to complain and all these things. But if it was a yes or no vote, I would absolutely vote yes on changing the current new legislation, because it's going to let us make more changes. It's going to, for a lot of people, cannabis is bad because it's illegal, and when it's not so illegal anymore, they're going to be more accepting of it. Right. And it's going to inspire other countries around the world. And a lot of this stuff, I mean, I know there's a lot of problems. We don't know how it's all going to play out, but I think it's only going to get better from now on. Right. I don't think the cannabis laws in Canada are going to get stricter or worse after this. They're only going to get more opened up.
But what about the current dispensaries? Do you think it'll be a war on dispensaries?
I don't really know what special power they're going to have on October 18th that they don't have now. I feel like it's a lot of bluster and that more than what's going to be reality. We'll see what happens. This court case that's in court again today is going to be influential with 40 dispensaries challenging the city of Vancouver. But police can already walk into any dispensary anytime, take all your money and all your weed and leave. They don't have to charge anybody, they don't have to arrest anybody. They could come in twice a day and take all your money and all your weed. Yeah. And they choose, and not just in Vancouver, anywhere in Canada, they choose not to do that, not because the law isn't strict enough, but because they have other priorities and because people don't want it and it's too expensive. Even in Toronto, now it seems to me like raids in Toronto have slowed down a lot too. Like, I know it's still rough there, but there was less than there was before. And I feel like our ability as a movement to withstand these raids seems to be bigger than their ability to pay for them, right? So I don't see how October 18th suddenly now the crackdown is going to come. I don't really believe that. I know that a lot of people are saying that, but they've been saying that for a long time. Oh, it's coming. Oh, you better. And it seems that they want to scare people into shutting down, because that's the only real way they have to close us down is if we get scared and close down ourselves. Mm-hmm. People say to me, "Do you want to be legal?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'd love to have a legal shop." But I don't really want to transition my dispensaries into the legal system because it means I got to close down for a while. And if I get to reopen with a permit, I can't sell any of the extracts or edibles or products that patients need.
Right.
I've always thought for my dispensary, we'll be there as long as we're needed. And if there's another system that can provide better products at lower prices and better selection and higher quality, and we're not needed anymore, then we won. I don't mind shutting down then because I'm not needed anymore. I'll do other things and work on other projects, right? But I don't think that day is going to be at least for a year or two, probably longer. And I'd rather just keep doing what we're doing now and help people who need help now and not, hope I'm going to get rich selling weed in a few years with a permit or whatever.
You're not down with selling the pre-bagged weed that you can't see through the package?
I'm glad people are going to be doing that, and I hope that's a good start. But no, that's not really interesting to me. And it's not going to be as fun. It's not going to be as profitable as running a dispensary either. The profit margins are going to be razor thin. They're going to charge you $12 a gram or more, but it's going to go all to the government and to the LP that produced it, and not much is going to be left over for that storefront. Like it's going to be a very different kind of business.
Not with 15% tax they're proposing.
And we give away pounds of cannabis every week to overdose prevention.
You can't do that anymore.
We have to stop doing that, right? And I feel that that's really useful. What we're doing is giving away cannabis, giving away money, making it available. All that stuff would have to stop. So I'm more of a mind to keep doing what we've been doing as long as we can. I don't really expect a big crackdown to come, and if it does, we'll switch to delivery services and do home delivery and give up our storefront if that's what comes to it or whatever, right? But awesome. I think that's what people are going to be doing, and I expect that some of the folks I know who have dispensaries who are going to try to go legit, they're going to shut down, try to get a permit, not going to get one, realize it's all a bunch of bullshit, and reopen their dispensary again doing what they used to do. I'm very confident that there's going to be a drop. Some dispensaries are going to close. People are going to try to get legal, and the system is not going to let them in. It's going to be too restricted, and they're going to go, fuck, those dispensaries are still operating. Those guys never shut down, and they're doing fine. I'm going to reopen again. I think it's going to dip, and then I think like late next year or whatever, we're going to see a whole bunch of places open again with another wave as they realize. And regular customers, regular people who aren't following this are going to be so confused, right? Like, okay, well, there's a weed's legal in Canada. There's a weed shop, but that weed shop's not legal. They're only selling illegal weed. Like, what? But the one down the street's got the legal weed, but it's not very good, right? And it's only, you can't look at it, and they don't have any edibles or any dabs or anything. They don't even, like, if you're a tourist, something, you'd be like, what the, how do you understand this, right? Like, people are already confused, and they're going to be so confused as to what's really going on.
Did you see the deck for the government liquor, or the liquor store version of the cannabis store from
I heard
the BC government?
That they're marketing to cities, trying to encourage them to let them in and not the private retailers, and trying to we're better than which is weird that they do that with alcohol? Like, does the mix of private and public retailers with alcohol? But I don't think the public ones go out there and try to get rid of that private.
They're
liquor
like, we
store.
have all these years of experience.
So
selling
what's the
restricted
deck?
Product.
Is the deck? Is you mean like a deck? Like
a deck is
where you?
No, it's a deck is like it's a document, a PDF.
Oh, okay.
It's like has a bunch of it's just a
shows you all the
Word
designs
document.
and, like,
Right. How
and it's got a visual sort of layout of things, and has it's almost like an infographic about them that goes on for several pages, and it's got all these different little explanations of, it shows their floor plan and how they want to do their business, what their design is, logos.
I mean, I think some cities might want to use that system and not a private retailer because they don't want the criminals to come in with the private retailer and all that stuff. So they're gonna. But I mean, it's all that's pretty inappropriate, really. I think for them to be promoting themselves, using the government to promote themselves over private retailers. But
we know one thing: none of these legal shops will have any kind of extracts of any kind. They won't be carrying any edibles. I think they will have a little bit of 3% THC in an oil, and then of course packages that you won't be able to see or smell that will have a THC warning on them. But you'll be able to research that 18 different LPs are supplying
good tweed product
here, so you're gonna be able to go onto their Twitter or something like that, and that's what they're looking at. They're using people within the system to find out, to kind of get their weed out there. So now you have to look to see what tweet or who's talking about what strain, or because
there's 21 that BC.
There's 21, but even the
with.
ones that talk to certain ones, they only have, some of them have one strain.
And
they're not sharing strains because they already know they're already monopolizing on these strains, and this one's got the OG Kush cut that. And you know what? There's only 2 LPs in all of Canada that have it, and they got contracts, so they're always selling out. You know what I'm saying? They've made it a very competitive market on that end too. So I think as that gets more and more, you won't be able to find certain strains that people are looking for. I think, like you say, the black market or the guy at home is going to be growing it, and these shops that are in need of patients that are looking for it are going to slowly pop up. And
has anybody seen
go back
any
to back alley shopping or whatever? But
fortunately, it's already an industry that's it's driven by its consumers. So as soon as we see these things come into place, you're going to see it go in a certain direction, and whatever happens, it's going to be driven by the people who are buying from these places. So if they want,
my numbers change governments. That's why we have legal cannabis.
If they want good weed, they'll follow the good weed.
They're gonna have to.
That's what I mean.
But has anybody seen any good LP weed yet? Like, have you guys tried any that's good? The only that I have is Broken Coast. There was a couple that were good. Because Jody is a Broken Coast patient, occasionally here and there, I think. But so we looked at a couple different ones, and some of them were like not flushed properly because they made our lips numb, they burned black. But others were actually pretty decent, but they didn't really have a great smell to them, but they looked really good. Like when you pulled them out of the
you're gonna have good LPs. You're gonna have ones that are running the mill of your more or less commercial weed that we already see. You're gonna have those craft growers. That's why they're getting in all the craft growers. So they have that elite strain that comes out every 3 months, and they'll become kind of like they're gonna. I don't know.
It's going to be all pre-weighed and pre-sealed bags, and I wonder how that's going to affect the quality and the curing, and whether they're going to get, they're going to want to be nicely presented or whatever, right? They're not going to want it all smushed up from transfer and everything.
It's got to be in a certain size bag.
Yeah, when you bring it home, though, if you open it and it all crumbles out, you're going to be bummed. You're going to want a nice nug or whatever, right? And I'm not sure how much they're going to get squished or wrecked or how. And you only be able to buy it in preset amounts, I imagine. There'll be grams and eighths or whatever, so it'll be hard to like.
I think there's going to be a lot of pre-rolls that you're going to see, because I know just through certain LPs I'm talking with, a lot of people are buying up all of these future rolling machines, pre-roll machines, because you can't buy them right now. They're sold out type deal. So that's raising me question right away. So what, pre-rolls?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it'll probably be those things.
And it also comes down to packaging, because of certain packaging they're looking at and stuff like that. So
pre-rolls are very popular, but honestly, they're not very good.
Well, it's easy to put whatever's in there. You can't see what's in there, right? So you can't really judge. You can kind of smell it as a consumer, and you can kind of see.
No, but not even that, because we have our own pre-roll factory at Cannabis Culture. We make lots of pre-rolls, and it's not. We actually use really high quality pot goes into the process. This guy knows. Opus was our pre-roll tech. Yeah. We put great weed in, but when you bust up weed and you leave it for a day or two, like even if it's rolled up in joint form, it just loses the terps.
It degrades, it degrades, absolutely.
It's got to go into a sealed container.
It's because you've broken it up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really starting to deteriorate.
Yeah.
And I imagine that you probably, like when you're rolling something and selling it, I imagine it's only a few days maybe between those two things happening. Maybe longer, I don't know. But I'm just thinking if you've got an LP in Ontario and they're growing it, then it gets shipped to the BC warehouse, and then it sits there for a while, and then it goes to you. There's going to be a week or more between rolling and purchase, and every day is going to add to that degradation of the product, right? So
absolutely. And if the government wants to warehouse it, like if the BC government is talking
that's one of the dumbest things. Like, I understand they want to tax it, okay, that's what governments do, right? But why do they have to handle it? Why can't the licensed producer mail it directly, ship it directly to the retailer?
Right.
I don't understand what the province is in the middle.
It's just too much tracking.
But they can make everybody file stuff. They can make people file records of what they've ordered and do things.
It's a whole new level of bureaucracy and crap and government
it's
jobs.
It's just another job. Like
probably BC GEU union jobs.
Yeah, taxing it. Okay, they want to make money, but then when they handle it, that actually costs money. The government's got to pay that person and put it in a warehouse for a few days. And the warehouses are probably going to be empty to begin with, because the warehouse implies you've got extra marijuana after all the shops are full. You've got
after
some left
3
over.
months after being in a container.
In the beginning, anyway. So there'll be no extra.
Take it in and then send it out.
There'll be no extra cannabis. It's all going to go straight in and straight out again for quite a while. Maybe
they got to track
it.
They got to track it. They got to know where it's going. It's a GS1 barcoding system.
Yeah, that could be done without the government.
They don't do that with liquor, and they still track it.
Do they?
Yep.
I have no idea.
Liquor doesn't get sent to a government warehouse first. You just order it from the company.
That's pretty cool.
But the government tracks it all.
So I can order like a bunch of Crown Royal.
Everybody's got to file at the factory.
Yeah, everybody's got to file reports and stuff. I don't know. Yeah, it just seems like handling it. I think that was a SOP to the BCGEU. We're not going to let you run all the stores, but we're going to hire a bunch of you to handle all the cannabis before it goes out to the
Neil
stores.
just made a good point. Why don't they do that with guns? If cannabis is so dangerous that they have to have a government warehouse factory to deal with it, they don't do that with guns even here in Canada. Like, where's the government gun factory or warehouse?
You don't have to buy it from the government.
You don't
can
know.
get it.
There's
you're
no
right.
government middleman.
I don't know. This whole system right now is
hunting
pretty
store. You can go to Bass Pro Shops.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the ammunition and stuff should be held in a government warehouse if they're worried about dangerous things, right? Like,
100%.
Yeah.
but they're not. They're just worried about making money off of
Appearances
cannabis.
and
They're
shit.
finding a way of getting every dime.
I did want to
Cannabis
mention
can.
though, Manitoba came up with some rules today.
Manitoba.
Yeah, Manitoba's changing all the
And
time.
one of their things in their packaging or their stores, they are allowing for samples so people can look and smell, but they will need to be attached to the counter by some kind of chain.
Well, at least you can smell
So
stuff.
it'll be a small little, there will be something, a display. That'll be, you can look at it and smell, but the other weed's got to be like.
Don't liquor stores like give away alcohol sometimes and have like sample stations
Yeah,
where
of
you
course
can
they
drink
do.
stuff? Like I'm pretty
yeah.
sure I don't really go to liquor stores that
Yeah,
much.
they
They
do.
give away samples,
Oh, yeah.
right?
They've
But the
been doing that
cannabis
for
has got to be.
years.
They won't be allowed. So you can smell. That's better than not being able to smell it. I mean, that's better than nothing, right? But it's still
Sure.
pretty weird that they gotta. But at least you can see it. That's good. I wasn't aware anybody was able to even do that.
I just read that today, actually. There's a story on Manitoba's released their.
It'll all ease up.
So
over
they've
time.
actually, they backed off on some of their regs and come out with now some new regs for the sales. That's what the story was today, and that was one of them. They took away, they were very restrictive, but I guess they've had second thoughts, and legalization hasn't even started.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is what you're going to see. It's going to snowball really quick. Things are going to change a lot between today, the 18th of October this
Oh,
year
man.
and next year. And
It's
the
gonna be a
following-
constant- we're gonna
It's
see
gonna
so
be a
much
complete-
change
It'll
and
be a
so much
completely
stuff.
different program. You won't even recognize it a year from now.
We're not
from
gonna.
legalization.
It's just.
It's a huge change for our society. I don't think people often realize how deeply embedded cannabis prohibition and the drug war is into every aspect of our society, and how much of a huge change this is going to be. People think it's really, and it is easy. It's just a stroke of a pen. But in terms of the culture and the resistance and that, I just talked to another interviewer there, and I was saying, Trudeau, he promised pro-rep and he promised marijuana legalization. Those are the two things that were kind of like the idealistic, not politics as usual. I'm going to talk the truth and we're going to rap about real stuff. And the pro-rep they abandoned, right? He gave that up entirely. But marijuana, he has pushed through and made an effort. And it's a shitty version and all these things, but I think it was important to them to get this through and to make it happen in whatever form they could. And I think that's we got to give them some credit for that, that they actually they made it happen. And it would have been way easier just to say, oh, well, we're just going to improve the medical marijuana thing a bit and whatever. Sorry.
Yeah.
I know we promised this, but sorry, we're not going to do it. Like they did with pro-rep where they just abandoned it.
Yes. Now I do have Jeff Lundstrom actually ready to roll. He is near his Skype, so we're going to be bringing Jeff in on the show too.
I'll take off.
To talk about the Prairie Medicinal Harvest Cup today. What's going on? You're out of here, Dana?
I'm out of here.
You're out of here too? Are you
I'm
saying?
well, yeah, I feel like.
And I'm out of here.
Are you?
would you like-
You're
Oh,
welcome
no,
to
I can
stay if
hang.
you want to.
Yeah, I
you
can
guys
hang.
want to hang?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
cool.
good.
Well, don't get out here yet then.
Yeah.
Opus, are you in? You're still
I'm
in?
hanging.
Okay,
You're hanging.
we'll move our camera back.
I know.
Thank you, Dana
I know
Larson.
you're looking at your parking. I know what's going on.
Always
I know what
doing
I
good
have to
things.
do.
Oh, very nice. I love it.
Is that
Okay,
exactly-
let's hang out soon.
Yeah, we'll talk soon.
Court.
See you, Dana.
See you in court.
See you.
Are you going to any of the court?
I've not done any of the court stuff yet.
You should
See you
go.
there Wednesday.
It's
Wednesday's
the fun
big
starts
day.
soon.
Wednesday, there's a Grassroots Expo this weekend. The other thing I like
Grassroots.
Yeah, how do we
You
get
asked me
there?
to speak. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, I'll see you soon.
Bye,
How do we
Dana.
get
See you, brother.
Grab Cannabis Weekend. That's it. Well, you guys are already on that. We've got Pot TV on the media
Pot
list.
TV,
You're
so
good.
stay on Pot TV, like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, go with Pot TV.
I'm gonna show up at the Grassroots tomorrow, 100%.
Sweet.
Does that include
And-
Pot TV alumni?
Yeah. You're all
Opus,
welcome.
yeah.
Everybody.
Everybody just says
You
now.
guys-
Now everybody's
I
listening.
was
Now-
here
now-
for
well, yeah.
a
Now everybody
long
at home
time.
is
I used to have
listening.
many
They know.
shows here.
There's only so many people that
All
are
the
sitting
viewers
in
at
this-
home now are going to be like, "Oh, I just have to say I'm with Pod TV." And
But,
That's not-
They're
get
gonna be
down-
like, Pot
get-
TV's
get down
hero
to
is
the Grassroots
huge.
event this weekend. I'm gonna grab one of these.
These
Oh,
are
yeah.
two
Grab
different ones,
The-
actually.
Those are no, it's the Saturday and the Sunday program.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
he
what I
says
meant.
he's
They're
having trouble
two
signing
separate.
So,
Oh, yeah,
One
yeah.
was Saturday,
Online,
yeah, too,
online,
man.
I think I just wanted to
Uh,
these
Yeah, all
let
yours.
us know.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And I will see you guys later. And if you're going to the Sask Cup, enjoy it.
What? Oh, you're out of here, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, what do you got to do?
Huh?
What are you doing?
What am I doing?
Yeah.
My car's over there, as you can see.
I see.
I know your parking is done.
I already did my parking. Oh, your parking is not done?
Well, no, because I can't extend past it. It won't let me.
Oh, he's got to go put actual change in the slot now.
Change in the socket and stuff.
We watched the guy walk by.
I know. I got lucky. I was scared.
He didn't give you a ticket.
No, because I was at 5:16 is when mine ran out. He walked by at 5:18, so it was still flashing.
Oh.
You are really playing a dangerous game right now.
I know.
sir.
As you can see, can't you see me staring? I'm like this. I'm like.
Because he can't look away now.
Brian even texts me. He goes, "Dude, you're parking at 5 o'clock."
Well,
Laugh out loud.
feel free. Yes, then we'll see you soon, Johnny boy.
Okay,
Enjoy.
guys. As always.
Right.
Thanks for
Stop and
stopping
pass.
by, John.
Don't forget, share the love.
And come and see Johnny this weekend. He's going to be at the Grassroots thing.
Oh, don't see me. Come to the Grassroots conference. Come there.
Have people been able to see you lately?
Huh?
Where have you been going to any events or doing anything lately?
No, I haven't been at too many events lately, but there's going to be the old cannabis coming up in December. I'm going to go to the Hemp Fest conference at UBC the 28th, 29th, 30th, I think it is.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to be milling around there and meeting some people and talking because I really support hemp and CBD. It's a huge part of what we
You
do
didn't come to
here.
the Karma Cup.
I didn't make it to the Karma Cup. I didn't feel like flying out to Karma Cup. It's just the way thing is, life. And then there was also another cup they had out here, the Okanagan Cup.
yeah.
Didn't make it out there either, but I helped sponsor both events, and I'm still there in spirit.
We missed you, John.
You know what? I logged in and said hi to you guys when you were doing the awards. I was on the whole live chat the whole time.
Nice.
So I was there.
There you go. Yeah, and
I'm always there.
It looked pretty decent on the
Yeah.
camera setup we had, so you felt like you were there.
But before I get a ticket,
You
I'm
better
out of
roll.
here.
You're
Johnny's
gone.
out of here.
Peace,
I was
guys.
trying to keep you as long as I could.
I know you're trying.
Yeah.
You are. Now I have to try and get up.
I can see right
Hey,
to
got
my
Chris's
car
new
here.
book. Chris
actually.
just gave me his new book, so that's
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
awesome.
Nice.
So that's just out. We're gonna get Chris on the show to talk about this.
Show
Jared's
him
got to
the
read it
side- Show
first.
him the side of the book and how thick it is. There you go.
There you go.
There's a lot of info there.
There's a lot of great info.
Amazing.
Chris Bennett,
Libra
definitely.
420.
It's like all
So
his books
I
are
got
that
some great
size.
information. I'm gonna be reading this
Magical-
thing
what is it,
probably
the
for the
subtitle?
next.
Cannabis, Magical Herbs, and the Occult.
There you go.
Amazing stuff. Yep,
Definitely
Chris
pick
is
up
a
that book.
magician himself.
That's his latest, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
it's his
Yeah,
latest.
yeah,
Just got it. Yeah, I even got a signed copy. I got it signed.
There you go.
Got a signed copy. Got to
It's
do
the
that
real
stuff.
deal.
Real deal. K-Pod
Thanks, John
TV.
Boy.
Peace, guys.
Love you, man. Come back soon.
See you next week.
Next week. Beautiful.
week, yeah.
Yes, and Mr. Cookie is actually in Ontario still, hanging with his fam.
I'll come join you.
Yeah, you can come do that. That's totally fine. Jeff is apparently having trouble logging in. Oh, now he is signed in. So Neil should be able to bring him up on the old Skype connection. The Prairie Medicinal Harvest Cup is this September 28th to 30th in Saskatoon. And we go every year. You've seen a lot of it on Pod TV if you tune into this network. We always go every year and have quite a stage show. This year again, we'll be there, and I believe Mr. Neil Magnuson and what does he got here? Oh, package. Where'd that come from?
Ooh.
Oh, okay, very cool. Thank you. A package from Crop King Seeds. So, by the way, this episode is brought to you by SunWest Genetics. We have to throw that in. I don't know if we dropped the title
Brought
card.
to you by SunWest Genetics.
Oh, there it is. Look at that. Beautiful.
You've heard of the answer.
Yeah. We love those guys. And I don't know what's in the package, but I'm sure it's something to give away. I don't think we'll give it away today on the show. This is actually, I think,
See
for
what it is.
tomorrow, for them to give away on tomorrow's show. Sure. Look at this. Girl Scout cookies from SunWest Genetics. Oh, yeah.
You see those?
Girl Scout cookies. Nice package.
That's what I wanted to look at. Oh, it looks like there's what else in there? Oh, hard to say. Papers, maybe?
Nice. Very cool.
7 seeds.
7 seeds.
7. Yep.
Cool. Very cool. And we also have a couple Crop King seed stickers. Or no, sorry, these are not stickers. These are seeds. I thought it was just the buttons. I don't know what I'm talking about. These are actual packs of seeds. Which one? Oh, the bud cam, yeah. Like, these are dope. Check these out. Sour Girl. And they come with the little, what do you call these things? Badge?
Pins.
Pin. That's the word I'm looking for. Jesus.
Pins, dude.
There
You
it
should
is.
know.
Got the pins. Pin. But look at it. It's got the seeds right there in the little bubble. These are cool packages.
Yeah. They've always had those packages with the bubble like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
They didn't always get a pin though.
No, that pin is cool.
That's a new one too. I don't have that one.
Yeah, that Crop King seed pin.
That particular
That
one,
one's
yeah.
dope. Yeah, because I have a couple other ones, but not
Yeah,
that
well,
one.
it's the way it's hollowed out around the circle, kind of like that's.
Here, I'm gonna put this thing up a little bit. Sorry about that, guys. It's just a little higher so you can actually see the whole package deal. And check this other package out again. Where'd that other sunglass one go?
This right here.
Oh yeah. Dun, dun, dun. Boom. Girl Scout cookies. And it says
gift inside. So that's what I'm saying. I think there might be a pack of papers or something in there. I don't know.
Cool. I guess
It's almost like it's like Cracker Jacks.
Win this one because I believe we'll be giving these away on our show. So every Saturday or at least every couple Saturdays, I think on high noon, our Saturday show on Pod TV, hosted by Alyssa, Boss Lissa, and Miles. They're going to be giving away some seeds to our people at home. So that's fun.
Nice.
Did you see these ones? There you go. That's that new pin.
Yeah, no, that's a beauty.
Yeah, and big huge thanks to SunWest for sponsoring this show.
Sour Girl.
And to Crop King for sponsoring many of our Pod TV shows. Go out and get some. You can find all their... Actually, I believe you can get both of these. I'm not sure if you can get the SunWest Genetics products at Cannabis Culture yet, but you can definitely get Crop King seeds at Cannabis Culture stores.
Yes.
I don't know if we have a full lineup of the SunWest Genetics at Pod TV yet, but we will soon. My Skype name. So, is Jeff... If we give him a try, did that work? Oh, okay. I'm going to send him my Skype name. Maybe he's got a new Skype account. That would account for some things. Does make sense. Oh, no answer. Okay, no. So we can ask him. He did say, remember, if we type in that's his Skype name, remember? Maybe try typing that in and see if he comes up. But before we have him on, we do also have a bunch of stuff to talk about on the show today. We have a ton of videos to play. But there's been all kinds of stuff happening, including this interesting thing in Calgary with them coming up with these zones. They wanted people to go into the pot smoking zones.
And then some of the universities are now going against that and saying, like, yeah, we're going to regulate certain areas and you can smoke in designated spots.
And the city ones, the cities backed off and they said no, there was huge outcry and the city just, oh, no, never mind, we'll... Yeah.
Which I'm glad to see because it gives me hope that vapor lounges would be allowed at some point. Because really, you're going to need places for people to consume.
Well,
it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, it seems strange that the like smelliest and most like obnoxious, because I love smoking weed, but it's of all the consumption methods, it's the most potent.
Right.
For being kind of in the zone. So why wouldn't you create like places for people to go
to do that?
And like so many people love smoking weed, like just smoking bud or vaping or dabbing. It's like, why wouldn't you create places for all of the people that are already here that love doing that?
I think within 6 months you're going to see cities going,
absolutely.
We are going to
We're
allow
being like relegated to our homes right now.
But if you're a renter, you can't even smoke in your home. Unless your landlord says it's cool, you can't actually smoke in your apartment. You can't smoke in the park, can't smoke on the street, you can't smoke anywhere.
I got a little addendum in my lease sent to me, and she's like, gotta sign it, no smoking of any kind, anything.
There's a lot of that going around.
On your patio.
Same thing. Oh.
Sounds like Big Jeff.
Have Jeff there? Where is he?
What's going on?
Can we see him yet, Anil? We can't see it, Jeff. Is it? We can hear you, but we can't see it. Do you have your video thing turned on?
I believe so. Hold on.
We definitely hear you, though.
We hear you, though.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff.
Jeff Lundstrom, owner of Skunk Funk in Saskatoon, an amazing head shop that's been there for a long time, and also the founder and organizer of the Prairie Medicinal Harvest Cup. And this is how many annual are we at now?
8.
Eight.
I was going to say 7.
I thought it was 8. That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, that's I've been to most of them. I think 7 of them out of the 8, and we call it the friendliest cup in Canada.
I came up with that.
Yeah, everybody thinks they came up with it.
Can you guys see me?
We still can't see it, Jeff.
No, not yet, Jeff.
No, do you see a little video button, or like it looks like a camera?
Yeah, I keep restarting it.
Oh shit!
I can see myself up in the corner here.
Huh? So weird. Yeah, we just have a black screen, unfortunately, but we definitely can hear you loud and clear. Jeff, how are you doing? How are you getting ready for the big event here? I guess.
Yeah, plugging away at it. That's for sure. Yeah, we're prepping, ready to go. I always say ready to go, but never really ready to go. Yeah, just spent the last couple of days in my garage stickering lids for the little portion cups, so that's one of my least favorites. But
yeah, there's a lot of tedious work that goes into these strain judging competitions, and you guys always do a really great job of getting through all that stuff and dealing with the bullshit.
Yeah, it's worth the fun. We get to hang out in my garage and be silly for a while, so it's not a bad thing.
So, Jeff, tell us a little bit about what's going on this year. Are you back at the same O'Brien's Event Center?
Yeah, they actually changed the name, so I guess O'Brien's is done with the sponsorship. It's now called the Coors Event Center, like after the beer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Maybe one day it'll be the fucking Cannabis Culture Center when
nice.
but they still allow weed guys to advertise the way the booze mecca does, right?
No kidding. Now it's going to be everybody has to drink Coors Light, and that's the only beer they'll serve.
That's right. That's all they get. Well, no, you get a deal on Coors Light. You get their light beer 2 for fucking 1. So.
Yeah.
They're Molson's anyways, aren't they?
I don't know. I think Coors is I thought it's like an
Constellation.
American.
Coors is Constellation.
Oh, is it?
Constellation Brands. They just purchased huge shares in a cannabis company.
Right, yeah, they're buying into the weed biz.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so maybe it will be some weed-related thing soon enough.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, there's definitely a weed-related thing going on inside the Coors Event Center.
That's very true. And no matter what they call it, that event center is fantastic as a venue for your event. I really love it. I was actually, because you were talking about trying to move it this year, but I'm actually kind of happy it didn't, because I really love that place.
I wanted to see how the Hemp Expo that went on in Saskatoon here in the summer. I wanted to see how that went before I really made a judgment call on moving. It basically comes down to fundamentals of running a cup. Prairie Land Park is a beautiful venue spot. It would be wonderful if they actually let us be there. But the greed is what the numbers just didn't make it worthwhile. So I think everybody sort of has their eyes on this green rush, and they think that there's all this extra money and they're all going to line their pillows with it and sleep better at night. In reality, it's not like that. There's so many people biting at the bit right now that it's oversaturating a market that we've never seen before. So if you even just look at head shops alone, we're suffering this year based on just oversaturation of head shops. There's 9 in my town of 300,000 people. So I think it's just getting the venue spot locked down, having them continuously, even though they didn't jack the rent on me this year, still having them continue to sort of have our overview of what we expect from the community. So I think the fundamentals of working with people like that is important. I'm happy to be bringing it back to O'Brien's or the Coolers Event Center. We are opening up the whole upstairs, so that's new this year. There'll be a whole vape lounge area upstairs where you can actually go sit down and chill out and not feel the need to just be stuck in one spot or standing the whole time.
During the day as well, because we do sort of commandeer that area for our parties at night, right?
That's correct, but it'll be open to the general public from 3:30 until midnight the Friday and the Saturday, and then 12:30 till 6 on the Sunday.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's a great view of the stage from up there.
That's correct. You do have a good view of the stage. You definitely won't miss any of the entertainment. And I think we're going to try and stuff a few trade show booths up there, so you still have a close proximity to go run and get a dab if you need it.
Very cool. And so there's going to be, of course, the stage show, as we usually have. Who you got coming this year? You got music, or what do you got going on?
As you guys know, or maybe you don't know, Mike Rita from Toronto is coming down, and he plans to do a set of comedy definitely on the Saturday night.
Beautiful.
Nice.
We're going to, of course, have the sax players coming back.
Oh, nice.
So we'll do a little bit of hip hop and jazz and sort of sax sort of stuff on Friday night. Of course, ambiance music and whatnot. DJ Haywood will come back and spin on the ones and twos, weed songs until late at night. And then Saturday, of course, we're having the comedy show with Mike Rita, and we're going to have the sax guy back with, I believe, some other people, possibly some acoustic or some piano type style music, but we got to do a couple different things planned, and of course that's big thanks to Top Drawer Canna, who's our entertainment sponsor this year, so they're the ones that helped us pay for that, so big shout out to them. Shout out to Continental Concentrates, who took title sponsorship this year. We super appreciate that because our high level sponsorship tiers, we only filled 2 out of the 4 spots this year, so yeah, it's been tough. I don't even know what's coming for entries yet, but I think everybody's pretty excited. Maybe not too stoned from their Kush or from their Karma Cup entries. Christ, you smoke that shit till Christmas.
No kidding. I know. Jeez, I'm still going through mine right now, but
What do they
but
say?
you know what? You get through it faster than you think, because yeah,
Karma Cup stuff?
yeah, that's Karma Cup.
Was it good?
Yeah, you feel free to dip in, my friend.
Thank you.
And there's just so much too that's happening, and we talk about that oversaturation. There's been a lot of cups and drives, and I don't know if everybody's trying to get it out of their system before legalization because there's shit all over us and not let us enjoy our lives after, even though we're going to do whatever the fuck we want, regardless what they say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
I love that. Right.
I wonder how legalization will affect cups, but you know, if they're trying to crack down on them, or if they even will care.
Well, I don't know. It's hard to say. Our belief is to continue to do what we do. Our culture isn't going anywhere. Just because they're going to legalize doesn't change our culture overnight. Doesn't say, oh, okay, now you're just going to be just those pot guys, right? Like we'll always be part of something that's bigger and way too fucking confusing for those meatheads to comprehend.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. They don't understand it, and that's the problem. Hopefully...
That's why they'll never be part of it, because they don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, I'm hoping that more people will understand once legalization comes, but I wonder if that's even really true. Like, maybe... I don't know. I have no idea what the future holds, but...
acceptance comes understanding, with acceptance. So the more the people accept it, the easier it is to understand. I think that's when we'll really see those things change, right? But, I mean, I'm not out to make public opinion go away. You can think whatever you want about cannabis. I know it saves my life and thousands of other people's lives every fucking day. So, yeah, they're not going to change my opinion.
Nope. Nope. And it's funny there. I was thinking, was this last year that next door they had a police convention or whatever it was?
Well, that was 3 years ago now.
Oh, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, they actually had a wedding. It was a cop's wedding reception. So there was like 100 off-duty officers next door to our weed event, all getting pissed off while we were all getting fucking high.
Yeah, and they were because we shared the back area.
It was because of the alley.
Yeah, the alley.
The tent in the alley that's where we had to go to smoke.
Hold on, the direct quote from the police officer was, if you think I'm gonna give up my wedding reception to go bust a bunch of potheads, you're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That's great.
How we feel about it too, bud.
Yep, exactly.
Didn't like one or two of their guests come over and like use our facilities or something?
Oh, yeah, man, at least 16% out of the bunch, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I think
the numbers,
some of them ended
we
up
talked to
coming
them.
over and like, do you mind if we like step into your tent? We're like,
Yeah,
no,
we
come
talked
on
to
in, and
I remember.
Yeah, it
We
was.
did talk to him.
They were human. They were
Jobs are
humans.
people
Like
too.
that's right. They were people too. Exactly.
Yeah.
oh, we'd be naive to believe people in law enforcement don't smoke weed. That'd be the only way you can deal with that fucking job.
Yeah.
Pretty much, eh?
Exactly.
I think a lot of jobs where you deal with the public, you pretty much need to indulge in a little weed to get through.
Yeah.
It's just.
So Jeff, I'm really looking forward to coming back to Saskatoon. I always have a blast when I'm there. You guys, you really treat us so well when we're there too, man. And some of the places you take us and stuff, like, oh, geez.
Yeah, and that's all back on too. Of course, we got the pre-party at the Conga Cafe on Thursday night. We got the after party at Schreier Smoke Barbecue Shack on Sunday night.
Oh,
So-
man, that is literally, I'm not kidding, my favorite restaurant that I've ever been to of any place anywhere on the planet.
What about that Rasta place?
Yeah, that's the Conga. That's Thursday night.
That's so good.
Conga
They
Cafe.
make the best key lime pie that
Yes.
you've ever had in your life.
It's true.
Yeah.
Pretty
One of the
amazing.
best in Saskatoon. Yeah.
So yeah, and then return to the Cannabis Olympics we got coming back this year.
Yeah.
We've added a new event. So we have 5 events. So we have the fastest joint roller,
Yeah.
the fattest joint rolled, which is our new event.
Oh.
Okay, the Great Way Out,
Yep.
synchronized dabbing, and of course my personal favorite, the Iron Lung.
Yeah.
Have 5 competitions, 1 brand new one. It's the fattest joint rolled.
The synchronized dabbing is one of my fave.
The synchronized dabbing is the most creative of all of them.
That's really the showpiece there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's you and a partner, and you have to come up with a routine.
Yeah.
And they do the whole thing.
Is it to music too?
It can be. That's up to you. That would be up to the team. The team. I'm sure we'll see
Like
more
that
teams
scene-
that are going to put
Like that scene, right?
get organized. Yeah.
We've been kind of sloppy with the rules, so maybe because it's just for fun, right? Like, but maybe we should make it so it is to music. That would.
Well, just put it this way: if people are organized ahead of time, just think if somebody's watching this and going, "Hey, we're going to this. Let's practice now."
Yeah.
By the time they get there, they'll have it'll be down. They're going to win.
All of them are just going to pick Eye of the Tiger, though.
Yeah.
Well, then we'll give points for originality on music piece, right? It has to come into play. But I guess synchronized swimming is the music. So, but I mean, that's a full routine. These guys are just doing one little routine and a dab. So I don't know.
It's a lot of work.
So you could probably do it to a jingle.
Well, we could just have a person sitting there with like a little
Just let
Beats
your
by
cell
Dre
phone ring.
pill or something.
Shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what else is new? So our main focus this year is legalization. So that's the ad we got running on the radio is that we're focusing on legalization. We're trying to stay let the general public know. I find that in my shop, just talking to people day to day, is they just don't quite comprehend or even have a clue what the new laws entail, what they potentially could be violating when they're legal. I even had a guy tell me that he thought that once it was legal, if he went and purchased it from a store, that then the government would have his name on some sort of secret list. And I was like, dude, why would they give a fuck after they legalize who you are? Like, and they got you on that list anyways if you own a SIN number. Like, do you have a job? Like, so I mean,
yeah,
I hear that a lot, Jeff. People say, "Oh, they're not getting my name." I'm like, they're not going to need your name.
Do they not take your name at the liquor store?
You just want to see your ID to make sure you're legal age. It's just like buying booze. It's not like the guy looks at it and says, "Oh, hey, how's it going today, Fred?" You just
Right.
look at what your fucking
plenty to be
age is.
paranoid
That's
of,
what
but
I tell them.
not one of them.
I tell them exactly this. It'll be just like showing your ID at the liquor store.
That's right. So I just don't think that people quite comprehend what that looks like. So I think it's our job as professionals to inform them what that looks like. So that's our main focus, is what legalization entails, the kind of question and answers people might have, and yeah, the fears and misconceptions, and then of course what things look like for us. Maybe we'll touch on medical, I'm sure, a little bit. Wow, I don't know what else we got going this year. We're gonna get
Activist speakers as usual, and it's hosted by Mr. Craig X. And
that's right.
There's two other hosts, aren't there?
There is Matt Myrna, the cannabis champion from Toronto, is coming back to host.
Mr. Matt Myrna.
Matt Myrna back, and it's been a couple of years, and he was stoked. He even said he bought a new outfit. So.
Oh yes.
Anything.
Matt is the Cher of the pot movement with his outfits, and they look like he's borrowed them from Cher.
Yeah, he's been shopping in Cher's closet.
Yeah.
Mike Reed is going to be doing some co-hosting as well. Small responsibilities, just up with those three guys on the stage, kind of just running the whole thing, letting Jeff off the hook this year. I got no booth even, so I'm not doing a booth space at all. I'm just there to try to entertain, have fun, educate, and just enjoy life, man. Try to enjoy. We do have legalization coming. So many people look at the negative of that. We've been fighting for this for so long. It may not be what we want and what it looks like, but in a sense, we've achieved some sort of sense of a goal. So I need to celebrate that to some sort of degree is, I think, appropriate at this point, right?
Oh, big time. Yeah. No, I think we have to. I mean, if we really, want to move forward and be honest about the situation, we have to at least accept the gains we have made. And we know that, of course, there's lots of fears about what the possible future is, but I think we've come over a big hurdle here. Just, like they have in other states where it's not always perfect, like Washington State. I mean, it was definitely better that they legalized in Washington State, even though it had a whole bunch of issues. And over time, you can still fight to change all those issues. It doesn't all have to happen at the same time. There's some purists out there, but this incremental approach, I think, is better than, the alternative is that it's completely illegal still. So, no, we need to continue.
Yeah, that's what I think. And I say optimistically 3 to 5 years, we'll iron out all the hiccups along the way, and I think you'll see the rebirth of the community and a strengthening of us together as we continuously feel like we move forward to the final achievement of this goal of what we've all set out to do in our careers and our lives. I'm humbled by thinking that the Prairie Cup and everything that I've done for the last decade is a big part of that. So I want to continue. I want to celebrate with my friends. I want to celebrate with my loved ones, my family, and I want to look towards what the future is for everybody.
Well, I'm excited about it, Jeff. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be heading out there. And, of course, we broadcast the entire thing live on Pod TV, so you guys can tune in and watch it if you can't make it in person. But you should come, and you should make it in person, because Saskatoon is awesome.
It is a good time. Yeah. I'm sorry I won't be making it.
Up in Canada.
It is the friendliest cup in Canada. And it's because, I think that name is because it's so intimate. The venue is just the absolute, I think it's the greatest venue. I like it more than any other cup because of that damn venue. And it's all, and of course it's because it's run by you, big brother, but it really has the love, though, and you can feel it when you're there. And I think part of it is because we're all in that same place for the entire weekend. We all get to chill together. And people, a lot of these cups, you got people running all over the place, and it just doesn't have that spirit of holding us all together that yours does. So
the other side I want to mention is all the businesses around that center. The Starbucks, the restaurants. You walk in there and they realize where you're coming from. They know you're from the pot event. They are the friendliest, non-judgmental people. like the people running this business. It was amazing how well we were treated. Like, you know,
Saskatoon is very nice.
it was amazing. Yeah, people are very open and accepting.
It's not
and,
at all like Vancouver.
No,
Everybody like won't even look at you.
It's very non-judgmental.
Yeah.
It was really. I found it anyways. So
That's because they all smoke weed too.
well, people tell me it's that prairie hospitality thing too, right?
I actually think that's
has,
true.
I believe that has a lot to do with it.
There's a lot of stuff about Saskatoon. The food there is amazing. I'm not kidding. Like, I don't know what it is about over here. Maybe I just hate Vancouver for some reason, but the food is so good in Saskatoon. And it is remarkable. There's like that breakfast restaurant that we go to is so insanely good.
Is it all food, or is it like a specific type of food, like comfort food?
Everything. Doesn't matter where you go. It's all good.
But there's a lot of the
like
restaurants are just like, wow, this is a good place. We got to come back. And when you go back, they're still in business, and there's like a lot of times there's a lineup, but we all have gotten to know all these little restaurants, and they've just become sort of almost tradition when we go there.
Jeff, we have Piper Courtenay from the Georgia Straight with us on the show, just in case you were wondering whose voice that was. And have you been to Europe before?
Yes.
Yeah, the food in Europe. Yeah. It's all good. Everywhere you go, the food in Europe tastes better.
I have had crappy food in France before. I have had terrible food in France.
Okay, France, though.
But yeah.
Never been there.
But it was mostly good. And then, well, I guess it's not technically Europe, but the UK.
No?
I'm British. Grew up outside of Oxford.
There's not I've heard before that if you don't like certain things, you will hate England. Like Britain, you're not going to like it if you don't like certain foods.
Well, I've only really been to the Netherlands and Spain, and the food at both of those places is just absolutely amazing.
Spain's got to be incredible.
Oh man, it's so good. They love ham in Spain, actually. Everywhere you go in Spain, and I'm not kidding, you can go into like the Shell station on the corner, and they will have a full ham there, like carving it open for you, like carving slices for you, and baguette bread. Everywhere ham and baguettes.
There's just a different appreciation of food over there too. Like, we don't sit there and go, oh, it's 12. We should probably go for like a nice sit down lunch and like make a beautiful buffet of food for ourselves. We don't do that here.
No.
We don't take time to eat.
No. Yeah, the Netherlands the food there is insane.
I make time. I've been doing it for years.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
I've been doing it for years.
DoorDash.
No DoorDash. Make your food.
No, I put up with the bullshit. I go shopping and.
Did we lose Jeff? Jeff, you there? I think we lost him because he just sent me a text saying he just lost all the power in his house.
Well, then we lost him.
So
especially if it's plugged in on it.
I guess there's maybe some power issues.
I'm gonna be. I'm sorry I won't be there, but I did just do a big trip this year. So
you did Opus. Yeah, have we had you on the show since you went on your trip?
No, you have not. This is first time, mate.
That was cross country. How far did you make it?
Well, I rode across Canada. Then I went across I rode across the Confederation Bridge to Prince Edward Island, and that was amazing.
Cool.
To ride your motorcycle across that.
That's pretty awesome.
Really cool. Spent, 3 days on Prince Edward Island. We took the ferry to Nova Scotia, and then I went to Cape Breton Island. Cool. And I spent a few days doing the Cabot Trail and Fort Louisbourg, and then I rode back. Stopped at a few other things along the way. I went to Friday the 13th in Port Dover, July 13th. It was 200,000 motorcycles.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
Holy
the place
crap.
was rocking. One day.
That's insane.
It is. Oh no, you've never.
And they gather
seen.
on Friday the 13th. That's so badass.
It's every Friday the 13th, no matter when it is. But they're usually in the crappier times of the year, so they still have guys that show up. Even if it's snowing, guys will show up with their motorcycles in trailers and have a party. It's obviously much smaller, but anytime it's in the summer or during warmer weathers, like last year was there was one in October, I believe, and there's 120,000 bikes.
Wow.
But July, oh no, this was a bucket list thing to go and do.
Cool.
It was really neat.
And how many days were you gone on the trip?
52 days.
Wow.
16,300 plus K, which doesn't seem like a lot because it only works out to about 330 some odd kilometers a day. But I spent like a week here and a week there, and you know, it wasn't all just every day ride. Like
yeah.
So
That's pretty cool, man. 52 days out there on the road. That's
Yeah.
fun. And that's your longest trip like that, right?
That's the longest motorcycle trip I've ever taken. Yeah, like continuous.
Yeah, because you've done a couple before, but not
Oh, I do lots of trips, but
Yeah.
usually, a couple weeks at most. Usually like 10, 12 days is a long trip.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It's hard to get away for longer when you have an animal, you have a cat.
Oh, your cat.
So it's a little tougher to get away long trips.
So I think we might be, fortunately, not able to get a hold of Jeff if his power's out.
No, that'll put him at an extreme disadvantage.
Yeah, damn. Well,
I don't think he's got an exercise cycle thing hooked up to
where's
it.
the generator? Yeah. That's funny. So, well, the Prairie Cup is September 28th to 30th in Saskatoon. You can get tickets online at saskprairiecup.ca, and you guys definitely should come.
It's
It's
in like
worth
2
the
weeks.
trip.
That's
It's a couple weeks from now.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks. Wow.
It is a lot of fun. And what does he say here?
What is the soda called?
Whole west side of Saskatoon, the power is out. Oh, jeez. Is it snowing there already? What's the question?
It's called Sprig.
Sprig.
That's what it's called.
I actually feel really high, like unusually
Do you
high.
really?
I felt like when I drank this, I got
I
a
totally
lift.
sobered up.
Really, the CBD.
having the
It must be
opposite
from the
effect.
dabbing because
I got
Oh,
a
maybe,
lift,
yeah.
and I feel with this grin on my face. I was like,
I can
I wasn't
barely
feeling like
form
this
a
before.
sentence right now. Like I'm actually really high. The whole conversation
funny.
with Jeff, I've like been struggling over here. So maybe it's time to take another dab. I did right before. I
Quickly
left
get
my
high
house.
again.
Better smoke. Better get some more drugs.
What happened?
You were straightening up. That was it.
Yeah, that's what happened. You were feeling sober.
My eyelids feel heavy though.
Oh, not me.
Like it feels like I've consumed an edible.
Oh.
You know?
Oh yeah, I know that
So-
feeling. I do.
You
And
kind of, it is
edibles fuck me up.
considered an edible. But it's just CBD.
Probably CBD edibles probably fuck me up as well.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I-
Did you not think about that when
I
you were
don't
about
know.
to drink this?
I don't. Well, I always just figure CBD's not going to get you real.
Oh yeah, but we're
That's
that's
a-
what it
that
is
is a
because
myth.
we're using it internally. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, and so CBD reacts completely differently with different people, right? Like some people find it quite psychoactive,
I don't know. I did
which
a
is why
dab.
it's so ridiculous when the government everybody markets these things as like it's CBD, it's completely non-intoxicating, and you're like, well, you have no idea.
Right.
That could totally send you up the wall. Some people do.
Yeah, it's true. And
Yeah,
it all depends
I've
on
heard this.
the individual, really. And yeah, I guess when you're mixing all these different ones too, I wonder if there's some effect. The entourage effect is just going wild. It's not just happening within the plant itself, but
Well, that's
So
why,
it's an
yeah.
awesome treat for your cannabinoid system. They're going, oh boy, it's Karma Cup time.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I used to and it's weird too, because like I used to drink a lot of beer and not smoke a lot of weed. Like it'll be weekends, and then as soon as I started smoking more weed, like I stopped pretty much drinking. Like I have beer, one maybe, with like dinner or something, but that's about it.
Yeah,
It's
definitely,
nuts. It
yeah.
completely replaces it, and then mixing it is not as fun. Like it's
No.
weird. Weed
I
replaces
really
a lot
do
of stuff.
think weed replaces things, and
Yeah.
and like not just alcohol, but food consumption. Like when I smoke weed all day, I don't eat food. Like I just don't, which is probably not a good thing. But it just seems to sort of supplement everything. I don't feel hungry when I'm like if I smoke, I'm not hungry for a while.
But if you started eating, you would feel really hungry, probably.
Well, I
if you
think
just
if
have
you-
to eat something and then
if you wait for a little while and not smoke, then you get very hungry. Like if I was to wait even 15 minutes without smoking, I'd probably start to get the munchies. But when you keep hitting, like I don't really wait more than 15
When you're like
minutes.
microdosing through the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or macro dosing.
Or macrodosing,
Yeah.
just completely riding the
dabbing
riding the
all day long.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because I don't have that. I full on get munchies. I eat like ridiculous amounts of food.
Really, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, it's weird. I just don't. It's the opposite. It used to be coffee, too. I would drink coffee and smoke weed, and I wouldn't eat till, like...
because
really late in the
coffee that's my problem is I'll drink too many coffees, then that totally inhibits your appetite.
Yeah, but definitely about the liquor, and I think even the statistics show this, that in places where there's marijuana dispensaries, they show a direct correlation with fatal traffic accidents due to people being drunk and driving.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was Forbes magazine. They published the study that was done. So Jacob Sullivan, I believe, wrote about it. But yeah, that's I think you definitely can get people. It's the gateway out. We published an article in Cannabis Culture a time ago by Julie Chadwick, the writer, who now writes for Vice and a whole bunch of other publications. But yeah, she wrote The Gateway Out about people using cannabis to get off a whole bunch of different substances. And of course, you're seeing that with not just cannabis, but now even like psilocybin.
Oh yeah.
The mushroom thing is huge these days.
Yes.
Very cool. Microdosing shroomies.
Kratom.
Yeah.
Another big one.
And ketamine even.
Microdosing ketamine. Oh yeah. I was just interviewing a couple of people about that. Actually, it was not ketamine specifically, but like LSD, psilocybin, all sorts of things, ayahuasca ceremonies and stuff like that. I've been starting to research that a little bit more for writing because it's interesting to see that we're going, so far with cannabis, but there's all these other plant medicines out there that need to be, explored.
Totally.
And need to be at least funded for research.
We need a full revolution, the real plant revolution, where we're able to use all of Mother Nature's amazing gifts.
Well, yeah, and you look what some of those things, what they can do for PTSD, and you look at like firefighters and police officers that deal with that on a daily basis and are unfortunately committing suicide or turning to drugs and alcohol, and it's like there's alternatives here, and we could actually use them. They're right there.
Right, and people are afraid of these substances. I think there's this euphoria phobia out there that's deeply ingrained in our culture for some reason. But it's an odd double standard because people don't seem to really give a shit about people when they're drunk, or it's like, liquor's all good. And it's the good old boys getting loaded, but it's like if psilocybin or mushrooms, people are so deadly afraid of.
But and the strange thing about that is we're not asking anyone else to do these things. We're just asking to have the freedom to do it ourselves. And if you want to learn about it, we're gonna explain it to you. Yep. But nobody's gonna force you to do shrooms before you go to work. Like, no, that's not what this is.
And when it comes to microdosing, you don't even get high. You don't feel high at the time that you take it. Like, you're taking very small doses, so it doesn't really have that effect on you. I guess obviously if you up your dose too much, you're gonna be having some fun, but
no, it doesn't. Yeah, it's really, really light.
Yeah, you can feel it, but it's not enough to change your behavior, like outwardly.
Yeah.
People won't notice it. It's not. At least that's what I feel.
Mushrooms are great. I love mushrooms. Yeah. You know what? Actually, though, I think of all those kinds of psychedelic substances, mushrooms might be the one that gives me the weirdest trips, or like if there was a negative trip, that would be the one. Because LSD has never, I absolutely love LSD, and anytime I've taken it, I've never had a negative trip.
Yeah.
Mushrooms are kind of weird sometimes.
I've never done LSD, but I say the most spiritual experience I've ever had, the most creative and interesting and revealing was on shrooms, it's not microdosing shrooms, taking a good amount.
How many grams you take?
I have no idea.
Mushroom tea is nice too.
Yeah.
But if you haven't tried LSD, you should try it. It is the fucking best. It is seriously.
See, I can only do those things when I know I have
LSD.
Yeah.
LSD is the fucking bomb.
Yeah, I can only do those things when I know I have a safe space and a person there who's sober, and there has to be a lot of conditions met to go on those trips.
Yes, that's true. Set and setting. Yeah, if you read what Leary wrote about LSD back in the day, those are all important things. But I have to say, of all my experience with any kind of drugs, LSD is the greatest of all time. Beyond the things that I learned while I was on LSD go beyond anything I could have possibly imagined.
Was it about yourself, or about the universe, or about
external? There's a great ego busting quality of acid that really is helpful if you are studying things like what's in Chris's book, Occult Magic, for instance. And if you are trying to bust your ego, or you're trying to transcend, in a la Zen Buddhism or whatever else, to some other plane where you're not even you anymore. You're beyond. You're a part of the room. That is a very cool thing, because it's almost I don't know, I felt like I was reaching nirvana essentially, and understanding that the whole entire universe is just love, I was part of it, and everything else is part of it, and everything's exactly as it should be.
Right.
And the reassurances that came direct, it's like, you know, what Hermeticists talk about this Gnostic experience, this direct download of information to your brain that you can always go back to, that I can now go back to anytime I want to and be completely content about everything.
It's so weird you say that part of it, because I've heard other people say that as well, where they say it's something that you can go back to, and you realize like you access a part of yourself that you hadn't had access to before.
Yeah.
And it's really strange. Like that's several times now I've heard that.
I will never again be afraid of anything, really. On any, like,
That's
it doesn't
nuts.
matter. It shows you the true nature of this universe, and that everything is exactly as it should be. So don't worry. Everything's great. Even though that doesn't mean there won't be pain and suffering. But pain and suffering is
But
part
you
of
understand
this.
it in a different context. Right.
Yeah.
Although
Interesting.
I've got to say, I've done just, you know, some very good LSD.
Right.
That
Yeah.
was
You're just part
really
of it.
too damn much after a while. It was like, God, I wish this was over, please. It was, it just
Really,
went,
huh? I've
it
never
was,
seen-
I just
Maybe I'm
went to
always
that
getting
level
good doses.
where it was like, okay, this isn't like, this is almost, it wasn't freaking me out or anything, but it wasn't really fun.
Well,
I
that's
really
right.
wanted it to stop.
I think
it can be terrifying.
I think you should always do these things just like as a disclaimer. You should
Yeah.
probably do these things with people who know what they're talking about,
But-
and don't just like do it by yourself.
But I have done,
Take a
people have
handful.
come up to me
Yes,
with big
that's a
bags of
smart
mushrooms and
Yeah.
said, here, go ahead. And just because we were partying, I've literally gone and taken handfuls and ate them.
Mushrooms, yeah.
Never had a bad time. Got really high, you know, but it's never been like, oh, I wish I took too, no, it's never felt that feeling of, I've reached my threshold, I don't like it anymore. It's never on mushrooms.
I describe it this way, the difference between mushrooms and LSD. Like, mushrooms put your feet in the ground, like you're buried in the dirt. And it's this very earthy relationship that you have with plants and the
Primordial.
earth and all this kind of stuff. It's very witchy. But LSD is almost like you're up in the stars. It's the total opposite of that. It's like you're on a
different
it's like
galaxy.
You're a 1 to a 0 or something. It's like you're not even part of this realm anymore.
No.
But both are very pleasant for me.
I like LSD.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It's wonderful. I like what you said about it. Even.
You know, though, like you can keep yourself grounded as long as you remember you're just on a drug. Because I do remember one time on LSD when I was like, for some reason I was sitting in the bathroom by myself for a second, like staring at the wall and everything, and just realizing how like bizarrely gigantic everything was. It was the whole like Alice in Wonderland size thing. I'm like, there's so much distance between me and the counter right now.
Right.
That could be all these little bugs and all this kind of crazy stuff. But I was almost like falling between the cracks of like thinking too hard about
You
getting
were hovering
smaller.
between reality and hallucination.
Yeah, and I was like
God,
scared
that's the
myself
worst.
for a second. Yeah, and I was like, okay, don't do that anymore. But you know.
Yeah.
But with
Refocus.
mushrooms. The mushrooms are weird because the trees kind of like lean in on you sometimes on mushrooms. I don't know. I get a weirdly. The other thing on mushrooms for me is I start thinking of all the things I haven't done that I'm supposed to do. Like, oh, when's the last time you called your mom? Shit like that. That's what I start thinking about on
mushrooms are a go back. Like I find it like I'm going back into almost like primitive situation. Maybe partly though, I do mushrooms a lot when I'm outdoors.
Mushrooms are very organic.
You know, and so there's that whole getting lost in the forest on mushrooms.
It's like you talk to
thing,
the plants on mushrooms.
Yeah.
And you can hear them speaking and it sounds funny.
Yeah, wandering around outside on mushrooms is usually fun.
But people in faces on mushrooms are weird too. People look kind of like drifty or something almost.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you're watching the TV sometimes, I don't know if people are like vampires or humans or what they are.
I don't actually love interacting with other people when I'm on shrooms.
Yeah.
Because it's like especially if they're on shrooms as well, like it just doesn't, our vibes don't always match.
Yeah.
So it's like, don't mess with my trip and I won't mess with yours.
It's a very inward drug.
It is,
it's
yeah, very much so.
It's self-focusing.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm over here. You don't want it. You're not social.
Yeah, and see, LSD is not like that. LSD for me is the opposite. It's way more social. And when you're doing it, it shows you this inner beauty that is shining out from everything. And it's like, I swear to God, even your eyes, you see the brightness of things and the beauty that literally shines through the light of like the green on this bong. It like starts just projecting this light to your eyes that
I
you're
feel
just
like you're
God,
on it right now. You're so passionate about it.
I really am.
You're like,
Maybe it's this CBD
on-
sprig.
Yeah, it's the sprig.
This stuff's great. Whatever's in here, give me another one.
Yeah.
No, but I can't advocate enough for LSD. And of course, when you're advocating for that kind of drug, be careful if you're using it and do it in the right way.
Yeah.
And kids, ask your parents first.
And there's the cannabis Cannabis and Hemp conference. It's coming 2 weeks away from now, and it's
Salamis conference.
Yeah, Salamis conference.
Yeah.
It's going to be talking about things like microdosing with LSD and psilocybin and stuff like that. So that's a good place for that information.
Yes, it is. I forgot. What's the date of that one? It's the weekend after this one?
I want to say 29th and 30th.
There's so many
28th
things.
and 30th.
But
don't quote me on that. It's definitely on her site. I don't
Is
want
that
to
the
say
same
that
time
wrong.
as the Prairie Cup?
I think it'll be the Prairie
28th
Cup.
to 30th is the Prairie Cup. Damn. I hate missing any of these things. And I missed Salame's Cup last time, or Salame's event last time.
And where's that happening?
At UBC.
UBC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think a couple of years before that, she had it at the Westin or something like that. That's where it started. But it's,
Well, you can always send me.
Yeah, we will, definitely. Opus on location.
I could go and film and write something.
Yeah. What time is it right now? So we've only got half an hour now, and I have all these videos, so we're not going to be able to get through all of them probably. We could throw them in the show notes. So they're worth watching. There was a lot of stuff going on in the news today, and Happy's in the house, by the way.
Hey,
how you doing, Happy? What's going on? I'm good.
The universe. I was up at the mayor's conference at Whistler.
Oh yeah.
And they craft cannabis at a.
Happy doesn't have a microphone, but
Come
yeah,
sit.
come and sit down over here if you want to be on Pod TV.
Craft Cannabis. Hi out there, I remember you. Craft Cannabis put on a little meet and greet, and at first they weren't sure, but then when they heard free food, they weren't sure. And somebody who actually had gone to a few of those things said, I've been to a lot of these things. This is the first one that was fun. But they had a little guy and girl playing music, and they're giving out stuff and shaking hands and whatever. Cool. But the most important part is that nobody refused to take home their grab bag. I got my swag. Thanks a lot. And they're really excited because they got this new thing called a tool, or we call it like tax, and they're just looking forward to spending it. They can hardly wait.
That's awesome.
So I told them that the Canadian government has figured out there's two kinds of Canadians. There's criminals and taxpayers, and that we demand the right to be taxpayers.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Well, and so, Happy, what's you usually do a lot of video and photographic work, or video work for, and we've even published some here on Pot TV. What have you been working on these days?
Oh, I went to the Ogopogo Cup.
Oh yeah.
You know, the Okanagan Cannabis Cup?
Yeah.
And you know this summer how you couldn't see the mountains?
Yeah.
Well, and the people in the prairies loved it because they could pretend they were in the mountains. And see it. But at this conference, and downstairs in the basement, they had it wasn't a bong-a-thon, but sort of like a who can dab their face off blast. and suffice it to say, I have no idea where the walls were.
Oh, no doubt.
Nice.
And
That's
everybody's,
incredible.
and it was a bit, I think the concept was you can smoke for 20 minutes and we don't have to call an ambulance. It's not as bad as they said it was.
Right.
But there were different people fading out at different times, and it was down to one guy, two guys and one girl, and then it was down to one green guy and one girl. And when the guy quit, the girl said, "Oh, I won. Great." Went back to dabbing some more.
That's the way it's done.
Sign of a true champion.
Yeah. She's like, what competition?
Still not done.
I was just dabbing.
That's the way it's done.
That's great.
That's
and so,
hilarious.
did you get some video while you were there?
Oh yeah. I got cloudy shots of this and that. And,
Beautiful.
And
You were at Grassroots last
they get there's a
or
contest
last
for the
April.
best flowers, best concentrates, best medibles. They did great on the food thing.
Cool.
Yeah, a lot of people got really fat heads.
Yeah, I saw some of the photos from there, but
But it's a marketing thing. You know, people are giving out different examples so they can be voted on.
yeah.
One outfit gave out 6 joints, 6 different strains. Well, they won. Nobody got through the 6 joints.
Yeah, there's good weed everywhere these days. I love these strain judging competitions though, because I really do think that's a great way of like getting our people together. And there, I was just at the Karma Cup, speaking of amazing cups, and it was just absolutely packed.
Oh, I saw a video.
Just packed with people. And literally a lineup all the way down the block, around the corner, and around the next corner when we got there.
Sarah Sunday's video of the lineup was just unreal.
People want this stuff. And if the government, I mean, there's no allowances for these kinds of cups in the current legalization scheme that's moving forward. So I wonder what's going to happen. Hopefully there won't be any sort of, government crackdown on cups or anything. But these things are amazing. They're fun.
We need to have all the cups come together and have one big transformer cup.
Yeah.
Just beat the government up.
Yeah. The Cupticon.
The
Cupstructicons.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Voltron cup.
Actually, I like the idea of just cups all over the place happening on a regular basis. It's much harder to shut down than one big one. They can focus on
Plus, then
that.
you're going to have more accurate sort of representation too, because right now, it's hard for all of the companies to go into certain cups and be in certain areas. And some places don't have a cup, so they can't submit. There's all sorts of stuff. We need more of them.
Yeah.
And then we'll start learning about more companies and being able to bolster each other up.
Yeah, because really, what it is it's a gathering where we get to share information and
And with all the restrictions on marketing and stuff and advertising that you can't do, it's really important that we have these things where we come together and start learning about all the diversity in the marketplace.
Well, that's our way of networking.
It's kind of like a mix between a trade show and a wine tasting. It's
but it has to have that old farmer's market style. For it to be really good, it's got to have the roots of these things. The farmer's market style is the way to go.
Oh, yeah.
Those are my favorite events.
Yeah, 420.
Yeah.
I mean, with all the people that show up and you're just selling every kind of item you can possibly imagine.
And just mom and pops next to, and if there's ways that you can actually incorporate the more modern kind of versions of the lift. If we could have a hybrid somewhere in there, it'd be really, really cool.
Yeah. Well, I think there's no shortage of people coming up with new things, so we'll see what. I mean, again, it all depends on how the government wants to treat them as well. I'm sure with the cups, I'm not sure, but I'm hoping they just let them go. I don't think they're going to try to ever stop 420 from happening because it would be an all.
I was asked about that. I guess there won't be 420, and I went. I looked at them. I went, "Are you kidding?"
It's going to be stronger now than ever.
Yeah. I said, "You won't be able to keep people away from doing that, and if you ever marched on the crowd, they're just going to march all over downtown, smoking." Everywhere.
Yeah.
They're going to be in the SkyTrain. They're going to be everywhere smoking up, going, "Nope, you're going to treat us poorly."
It's like a festival.
That's the retaliation that's going to come. Our way of retaliating is to light up a joint.
There's no way that they would ever try it because they already know, and that's why they don't fuck with it now. Because they're deathly afraid of a crowd like that running wild or being angry at them.
Could you imagine though a crowd of stoners running wild?
Yeah,
all right. Well,
it's not so much. It's not so much the running wild. It's just a massive crowd of stoners, and that alone to them is the problem.
I know.
Let's go pillage the subway.
All we gotta do is walk down this street somewhere, and that's a problem.
Smoke it out. It's not gonna be an anarchy.
I know we're not total degenerates like hockey fans.
Hockey fans. Yeah. Those guys are dangerous.
Yeah.
We're actually putting our empty baggies in the garbage cans and stuff.
Oh, but we destroyed the grass.
So
wow. It'll grow.
We didn't destroy the grass. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
No, but I just, like I said, I don't think they can do, I just don't see the enforcement there for a lot of this stuff. And that goes for all the dispensaries in Vancouver. Yeah. Are they just going to start, barreling through and shutting dispensaries?
You got to remember,
just don't see it happen.
There's only so many police resources.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it. They are not, I don't think, going to put all these other things all of a sudden aside. All the cases they're working on, all the cops that have to, schedule for court appearances in important cases. More money doesn't automatically translate into more enforcement.
That's true.
It just doesn't work quite that way.
That is true.
It's a back and forth. Like I said, yesterday or the other day, I found out that Dragger, the test, 5,000 thing, won't be out until at least April.
Right.
All right. Also, at this point, the cops aren't, even if it was available, they're not too keen on using it.
Yeah, that thing's not going to.
It's just going to be another tool that they have.
It'll just go to court.
By the time it does come out, it already might be shut down.
Yeah.
Through various challenges and cases that are all going to come out. This is the part I like, is the fact that legalization opens up so many other challenges, and we're not fighting a challenge now where like, oh, this is illegal. We're fighting a regulation. Yeah. And I think it's a big difference. And, you know...
Well, it's still a criminal penalty, though.
It for now.
Yeah.
But I don't think the public is going to follow along and want this for very long.
Well,
so
that's true.
I think
they're going to be like, hey, we thought it was legal. What's going on?
Have you seen, sorry to talk about the drag or drug test, have you seen the apps that are coming out now to test if you're like stoned?
Yes,
Which
I have.
Yeah, so
I've seen that.
What are they?
Basically, you just create like a baseline test. You take it like 15 or 20 times that when you're sober or at your baseline. And then any time that you are stoned or smoking weed, you take it again. And it's like a series of like little hand movement tests and eye coordination, following instruction. It's basically like a drug recognition test in your pocket.
Okay.
And you take it, and then it'll tell you if you're within 5% of your baseline score, and if you're okay to drive. So it's kind of like creating your own education.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's cool if they start thinking that way. If the government starts thinking that way, as if, you know, with cannabis, you're not necessarily impaired to a point where you can't drive.
Right.
So it would be cool if it took kind of that turn, where it's like self-advocacy and self-education and testing.
Well, the other thing, I know I've been trying to get this going now for some time, and I'm talking with a number of people who actually I think might be able to make it a reality, where I want to do our own test. But we need experts to come in to make it valid. So we've got to that's where the problem is. Part of the problem is hiring the right people, which is minor. But the big problem, though, the other side is to get the proper insurance.
What kind of a test are you talking about?
Actual driving test.
Oh,
but even to do this on private property with cones,
right?
Nobody wants to touch it. Everybody's freaked out about liability.
Right, yeah.
So
it's hard to do empirical testing on things
but that I think is the real test. To have people smoke some pot, get in the car, there's cameras in the car, there's cameras around the outside, and have them evaluated by a traffic cop who knows this. Here's the course. It's just,
They have done some of this.
But so little.
Yeah, and everything they do shows that people are more likely to be cautious. They're less likely to act crazy and do stupid stuff. And in fact, there's even been controversy in the local media with Mark Emery, who shared some of the studies around and were saying pot makes you a better driver. That was his sort of...
Yeah, people can't get their heads around that. No.
But the studies are right there. The one thing it does slow is your reaction time. So if other people are acting crazy on the road, then you're slower to react. But, you're not likely to act crazy and put your pedal to the metal and kind of
because a lot of times, and this is the thing on pot, you're hyper-focused on the task at hand. So, the drug recognition expert was trying to tell me that driving is a very multitasking thing, and I went, what? I thought, and one of the things he goes, and he's moving his foot like this. And I went, nobody drives like, I didn't say anything. I just thought to myself, nobody drives like that. Yeah. Your heel is on the floor, and you're maybe pivoting your over an inch or two to the brake pedal.
But you are
unless you have a standard transmission. But even
in fairness,
it's not that physical.
No, but you are doing a lot of multitasking because you're watching every piece of the road at the same time. You're trying to have this weird peripheral vision where you're seeing all things at once.
Yeah, behind
that
you,
is a lot.
But a lot of times, after anybody who's been driving for any length of time, though, that all becomes
second nature.
Exactly. You don't physically think out, I have to, it becomes automatic.
That's the more dangerous part, because it's when they do these testing, for instance, or whatever, the people that are doing it are going to be hypersensitive to those things, and they're going to know they're being tested or whatever else. It's when you get, used to doing something, and then you just kind of don't do it as well if you're smoking pot, possibly. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
That's a possibility.
I've never driven my car without being high in my entire, since I was 16 years old. So, and I think I drive pretty well. But I do think that there's, of course, times when you're impaired, like if you've been eating edibles or dabbing really hard or something.
Well, that's why I think the thinking needs to change from what tests in your system to what are you capable of.
Exactly.
So it should be driver capability tests and testing your reaction time and testing your ability to actually and being able to do that to yourself as well. Like I know after a glass or two of wine, I probably shouldn't get behind the wheel of a car. Like it's for me super sensitive. But with weed, it's a completely different story, right?
Yeah.
So it's about educating people and creating that route for them to know their own limits. And then creating the space where it's like, okay, if we think you're over them, let's test your capabilities right now, not the toxicology.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
It
doesn't
make sense.
No, it really is the point.
No, because I'm going to be loaded with that. Like, I'm going to be completely...
You have more than 2 nanograms in your system right now? You telling me?
Maybe
what?
I don't think I've been under 2 nanograms in 25 years. I wake up over that.
Yeah.
I got
You're like, that's my sober.
That is exactly. Well, there was, when Colorado was setting their limits for driving, one of the things that they did was they actually did some road tests, driving tests with different subjects, and they had chronic smoker, and then a few other subjects all the way down to a very occasional user. And I forget what it was, but I believe they had thought that their threshold was going to be around 6% nanograms, or whatever, the number they were using. The chronic guy, he actually drove, he kept smoking, so he got up to like 16% or whatever it was.
Right.
Did the test, was able to perform the test well, but even he got out of the car and said, all right, no, if it was up to me, I wouldn't have driven under this high. I'm really high. He says, like, he was like, I'm baked. That's it.
Yeah.
But I don't even, he said, I'm not driving again. But he said, I probably shouldn't have that time. But he still was able to pass the road test, like do the course.
Well,
and I'm thinking, so that's just to show, and I kept trying to point this out in the story the other day to CTV. I says, cannabis doesn't impair your judgment. And the very first thing alcohol does impair is your judgment. So usually people who feel that they're, God, I'm really baked, even if you're a new user or a regular user, if you feel really baked, the last thing usually you want to do is like, hey, let's go for a drive.
Let's go operate a complicated
Let's go. No, you don't want. You're more into playing a video game or sitting where you are, or watching, eating. Let's order food.
Do my work.
That's the reality. I don't think there's going to be a ton of people thinking, I want to get high and I'm going to drive. It just doesn't make sense.
And have you seen some of the tests that they're using the research from, like the ski goggles? They're called like the impairment goggles.
Yeah,
and they're
I
like
saw
green,
that.
Hilarious.
Dark green ski goggles.
And
I was like,
and it's fun,
thinking,
and it's opaque, so you can't see.
Have these people ever been high in their lives?
I was going to say, if you were in a smoky room,
ridiculous.
maybe, but
that is so strange.
That person has never got stoned a day in their life. I don't think
there's
I've ever
actually
seen
a full. I saw a full
They actually
suit.
buy some of those for the government, and they're training.
They're
people?
testing. Yeah, that's what they're using to test it. It's like
their bid was 3 times the cost of the kit online.
Yeah, that's why I know. I keep thinking,
ridiculous.
What is with these politicians just handing
They're
money
rewarding.
over to these
They're
private
rewarding.
contractors
Yeah.
or whoever they are. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just rewarding money out for stupid.
Oh, it's hilarious.
No, there's one I saw in the news that was actually a full suit. So
like an impairment suit.
An impairment suit. So, I'm sorry. Okay, it was an aged impairment suit. I'm getting ahead of myself here.
Oh, okay.
It was to demonstrate
Got it.
being elderly. That was I forgot. Okay.
Well, still has seems a bit strange.
But it had like
Are you on the way
the
there
arms were attached by bungees, so it would have been very difficult to lift your arms over your
Oh,
head,
that makes sense.
things like
I
and
get
weights
it.
and things. So to feel like what it'd be like to getting old.
Right.
To
Or
give,
being
and
lost.
it was
so
for young
interesting.
children.
Right.
They developed it for kids to teach empathy towards the
I thought
elderly.
maybe Sean was in
That was
danger or
the
something.
goal. To teach empathy towards the elderly to
Right.
young people. So they want that was
Oh, that's
it.
interesting.
Yeah, that was I just remember what it was all about.
Oh, cool.
I have
My
a lot
short-term
of-
memory loss. I just defeated it.
I've had a lot of tourists ask me, is marijuana legal in British Columbia? And I say, oh no, it's mandatory. They said, what do you mean mandatory? I said,
That's right.
you're speeding down the road, cop will pull you over the sun.
You better have some weed on you.
Smoke this joint and mellow up. And you're right about the numbers. Years to come when the Enlightenment is a common thing amongst humanity, they'll go, excuse me, we've checked your saliva, sir. You're kind of low here. Can I get off your joint?
Yeah, you have CDS, cannabinoid deficiency syndrome.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, leads to all kinds of symptoms.
Well, I've said this before, but nobody
being an asshole.
I said this before, but nobody remember in this room. When you use hemp for forest products, you not only get a forest you can log every year, but you get well-dressed, well-fed, mellow loggers.
Yeah, right.
Hemp's great.
That's very true.
I'll mention that in Port Alberni when I'm out there. Well-dressed loggers. That's what I've been looking for. Yeah.
And you know, that's the Okanagan Festival. They had these chocolate bars. They were called 6-packs. And what it was, one chocolate bar would get 6 hippies high, or 1 hippie eats it, and 5 carry 'em.
That's funny. Yeah, did you guys see, who is it now that's making, I think it's O. Henry that's making
425 for the 5 minutes after when you feel a little bit like a munchie.
That's funny. Hilarious. Good marketing.
That reminds, that's like that shirt that I saw. It was like, it's 421, got weed.
No, 419 got a minute?
Or no, 421 got chips. That was it. Yeah, 419 got a minute.
Oh, there you go.
421 got chips.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I think we'll probably see more of that kind of stuff.
The flagrant repurposing
apparently it's
of
illegal.
culture?
It'll be apparently
just
that
for marketing purposes.
The cannabis.
You don't say.
Cannabis cultural appropriation.
Welcome to capitalism.
Yeah.
You heard Coors' new plan?
No, we were just talking
the breweries are going to make marijuana infused beer. Now you'll still lose your driver's license at the roadblock, but you'll think it's funny.
You're hilarious.
You know, they missed the
Give
point
this guy
about,
a show.
Yeah,
about the
seriously,
marketing.
you're on point today.
Yeah, they missed the point about the marketing about the liquor stores and should they sell the pot in the liquor stores? Well, yeah, but why waste the opportunity? Liquor stores, marijuana, and guns and ammunition. What could go wrong? One-stop shopping right there.
Yeah, I agree. Take the warning labels off of everything. That's my goal. No more warning labels. No, we don't need those. If you want to make toast in the bath, please, you know, go for it. You
Where's the
deserve
warning
it.
label that says you shouldn't do that?
You know, I'm not sure, but I actually saw that
It should be
there
on
was a
bread.
comedian that used to actually end his sets by reading out actual like warnings from little pamphlets of goods that he would buy, and that one actually stuck with me. He pulled it out and he goes, says here right on this, you know, came with this toaster that he bought. It said, do not make toast underwater. It said right, but it was,
I bought the wrong one.
yeah, because I know when I'm swimming,
waterproof
I was
toaster.
going to give that to the Little Mermaid.
every time I go into the pool, I think, God, I wish I had some toast.
No kidding.
It's the first thing I think of when I go swimming.
hard to be
Why isn't there any
crunchy.
toast in this pool?
You know, you're
guess
getting dyslexic. You're thinking, why aren't I toasted? I'm going to the pool.
No, I'm toasted, that's for sure.
Bread is very soggy when it's in the pool, so you have to toast it.
No, but that was this comedian's thing. He would just read, like, and he used to have 3 or 4. He would just, I guess that was his gig. He'd always end the show. He'd, pull out his pocket the latest little instructions that from things he'd bought that had weird disclaimers.
So I'm just looking at my list of stories that were on the slate to talk about today here. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Well, none of them were that. There was this lifetime ban thing for working in the pot industry that's kind of a bizarre thing that the U.S. government has come out and said that even after legalization in Canada, if you admit that you've smoked pot, they will ban you from the States completely. Or if you work at a place that sells
People are
pot.
taking full-on like burner phones and burner laptops across the border and saying they're going there for different reasons because it's just so like up in the air right now.
Yeah, you basically, if you're going to the States, you just lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you say, burner phones.
I don't think that's what the lawyers will
Can't-
tell you.
I would not
lie.
advise anybody to do that.
I don't
That's
advise
it.
anyone to lie.
That becomes a federal
Even lying doesn't
crime.
work. I went across and I said, I ate brownies, but I didn't digest. And you know, every time I cross the border, they think I'm trying to overthrow the government. You get that?
I haven't been across the border since 9/11. They won't allow me across that border.
Uh-oh.
Well, when I go, they think I'm trying to overthrow the government, and I honestly don't know how they found out.
I try to stay
I think it'd be a patriotic duty, wouldn't it?
500 yards from the border at all times, at minimum.
Oh, and by the way, you hear the latest tweet from Trump?
Oh no.
Oh God.
No, he says he's not a racist. He always has the chauffeur drive the speed limit.
Yeah.
He's doing material. This is good. This is good. Where's your stand-up routine?
Oh, no, that's too much work. I sit down.
It keeps going. It's so good.
Brilliant.
Oh, that's
We're
great.
gonna have you on more often.
That's
Happy.
awesome.
So you know how many hippies it takes to change the light?
How many?
All of us together.
Oh, that's very nice. Very nice. There's this also this tenant landlord issue that's going on right now because,
Oh yeah.
of course, same thing happened at my apartment. You said the same thing, Piper, that you got a letter saying you can't smoke cannabis in your apartment.
And it's just it's not even just cannabis. They're like you can't smoke any substance of any kind on your patio or
Right.
within a certain distance of this property, and you're just like,
Yeah, my apartment was a smoking
where am I
apartment.
supposed to smoke? I
Yeah.
can't, like, there's a school over there. There's a
So they're
my
gonna-
apartment there. I can't do it at my
Yeah,
Vape
that hasn't
lounges.
come up to my strata yet, but if they do, like I say,
mean-
that has to go to an AGM or a special general meeting
It does.
and be voted on, and they got to get a majority of a quorum to pass
Yeah.
that.
That's because you own your condo.
But not, yeah, well, because we're under strata, and luckily, but
Yeah, so even
luckily
if you
also,
own your property, you can still have that right taken away by a strata council.
that's depending.
Or if you happen to own a marijuana dispensary, in
Depending on how the
store
vote
that
goes.
has a strata council like we do at Cannabis Culture Cassiar, you could rightfully, or they could kick you out quite easily. Which it was exactly what happened 3 nights ago at on Friday night, or what night was it? What day is it today? It's Friday today. How was that 3 days ago? I can't remember what night it was.
Well, what
It was just
happened?
At Cassiar, they had a strata meeting. I went there. We won by 1 vote and didn't get kicked out of the building.
Jesus.
Yeah, 1 vote.
Well, that's
So-
what I mean, though. It does go to a vote. So I'm in a high rise. There's a lot of Asian people, and a ton of them smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
So I don't, and they want to resell, and I don't see Burnaby a lot of places going non-smoking. They might come out with a no marijuana one though, but that'll be tough to enforce on the inside of your room, your place that you own.
No, I don't think
especially
that's
if it's
allowed.
medical.
Yeah.
That's your around it is if it's medical.
Well, these are all the things that need to be challenged. Like,
Yeah,
this is
exactly.
one of those things that
So-
people
so
need to
how
come
does that
forward
work?
and explain what it's doing to them when you take that right away.
How does that work? Vaping only and brownie potlucks in the lobby?
Yeah,
Well,
I
even
guess that's-
vaping, they're saying
that
no
should be
to.
okay.
Like,
Yeah.
people are saying that vaping is now.
Yeah,
allowed
vaping-
in certain
Can they
areas
say
or out-
you're
not
diabetic,
allowed.
you can't use your insulin, or hey, you're using your heart medicine again, or
Right, that's the problem.
if you're a medical patient, and if you're just somebody who likes to have a good time, well, okay, you're out of luck. But if you medically have a use for it, did they tell you that sorry, son, you're going to die? Or
This
is that
this
what-
strata meeting that we went to was a complete ban on everything, and that includes smoking, anything to do with cannabis, selling, distributing, whatever, in the building. And they were going to ban everybody from smoking in their own apartments, any kind of, even if they're, and this is a smoking apartment. Or this is, sorry, not an apartment, this is where condos are.
Condos,
So-
yeah.
Yeah, and so, and that's people who own their own apartment, or like, condos there, and they didn't come to the meeting. These guys are all deciding for them what they can do, and sadly there's only a few people at the meeting.
That's usually the problem.
Yeah.
People don't show up.
No, so
But I mean, I think in a smoking one, I think that'll be a tough one.
That being said, though, like, walking down the street has never been, like, less difficult with a joint.
Of course,
It's
you know
like,
me. You know
you
me.
could just
though.
walk. Nobody really looks at you either way. Like, I'm sure places like Saskatoon are much friendlier about it, apparently.
no,
But-
well, no. See, that's the thing, is the cops there probably aren't as friendly.
Yeah.
So
No.
Vancouver cops are friendlier than other places
Yeah.
for smoking pot in public.
I've
But
never had an issue
yeah,
with that.
I would.
Some
If
people
I was anywhere
certainly
else in
have.
Canada other than Vancouver, I probably wouldn't be smoking in public.
But how many people now call the cops because somebody's smoking pot on the street? Not a
Depends
whole
where
lot
they
of them. But no, but not really. Unless it's a kid or something and they're, that child is, that something like that.
We
But
smoke openly in Toronto as well, I guess. But.
lots of places. And I think certain neighborhoods and certain areas and parts of towns, different cities, are going to be a lot more easy about it. And like, look at what happened on Commercial Drive when Don Briere opened up the Kind.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The whole,
Broke the
everybody,
news. Everybody watching when they
but
come
all
out.
the merchants on
But
the
it was the
entire
neighborhood.
street all
spoke positively, said, wow, this place is cleaned up, got rid of all the street dealers.
Yeah.
The place was cleaner. Like, it was just every merchant for like a 2-block radius in all directions.
They got them on milkshakes.
Noticed that the place was actually like, it was just a huge improvement to the community.
Wasn't it
They
milkshakes?
got 'em on milkshakes?
They got them on milkshakes. That's how they closed it kind of down, right?
No, there was other stuff on it too, but they had a camera out back. They were filming those guys for a month, like coming and going in the back door, like deliveries.
But they went after them because they were selling infused milkshakes.
No, they went after him because there was that story on CTV. Because
Right.
prior to that, there was people lined up the block. Well, anyway, CTV came down and did a news story. 2 days later, that's when the cops came. So it had to do with somebody complaining. Probably City Hall got flooded with calls. What? How are these people? You know.
Well, and CTV asked for a comment.
Exactly.
CTV goes to the cops saying, "You're just going to let them do this?"
Yeah, exactly. And that's the other side of it.
Damn
So
media.
Sometimes it, has worked against us, but that's
Always
really
asking
what
it.
went down in that situation. So.
No,
Some journalists don't do it. Some journalists make mistakes.
I think it has to be done. It's important that they do get asked about these things, and that's why
Definitely
Don does that in the first place.
Of
This
course,
is all part
yes.
of it.
It's all
Like, we
part,
don't,
yeah.
Don Breyer isn't the type of guy who wants to do it in the shadows. It's important that they get asked about it, and they have to do some sort of response.
But the point is, though, is that once it's legal now and people are more open, I think you're going to see the benefits that other people, even non-cannabis users, will probably like, hey, well, the sky didn't fall.
Right.
And, and life will go on, and I think that the benefits will very quickly start to be noticed in different segments of society, whether it's in drug treatment or, other things, that it's useful. That's all going to come out because the stigmatism is going to go away very quickly.
I sure
There's
hope
just
so.
too many people involved in this game, and
And-
there's far too much money
Well, and
involved.
it already has gone away in a lot of senses because people, a lot
Well,
of
not the
people-
way the government's treating it.
Well, they still talk a lot of shit about it.
Well, I think the cultural stigma is definitely it's definitely going away. But there's also a part of it that's going away that we should fight to preserve, which is the medical for any of the medical
I
patients.
agree.
We need to fight to hold on to that.
For sure.
And it's
And all the
not
extract
something the government is
makers and
putting
all the
away.
products.
100%.
Well, that's
Gotta
pushing
fight for all
forward.
that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got to push
And
forward.
for vapor lounges.
Yes.
And
Very
speaking of, High Score is open to the public for everyone.
And so much fun.
Yeah, and it's our retro video game themed vapor lounge and marijuana dispensary. And it's open at 649 East Hastings here in Vancouver, and it's totally open to everybody, 4 to 10 p.m. every day. We will be extending the hours very soon. But yeah, I tried to
open
get a
earlier?
license from the city to no avail, unfortunately. They basically strung me along for as long as they could, and then they're just not getting back to me. So I tried to get a regular coffee shop license. I even said that I would stop smoking in there completely, and we'd figure out a way to do it. But in the end, nope. So now we're going full. We're just like any other.
You're
dispensary
listed
out
as
there.
a troublemaker
I
with the
am
city.
definitely a
You need another name
They-
when you want to do stuff with them. You need a bogey.
It's true. They don't seem to. Well, I guess it's
You
the
need a
association
step-
with Cannabis
you need to
Culture
step
and
in.
420. They
Yeah.
obviously know I'm marijuana.
You need
related,
you
so-
need a numbered company name and a different
I
person
don't
to
really
represent
care.
you.
I know. I don't want to have to hide. I want to be able to be open and do what we do, and that's kind of why we do what we do.
No, but just to get your permit and then go out and do what you do.
Well, yeah. I mean, it'd be nice to have a permit, and it'd be nice if they weren't sending people down to give you fines, because they can fine you every day $1,000 if they want to for being open without a business license.
Well,
but they refuse to give you a business license. So.
The new mayor isn't going to be from Vision because the Vision guy just said I quit. So it's almost like an election.
Almost. Yeah, sort of. And that's right. If you're from the city of Vancouver, please vote in the election. Please vote.
I wish
And
I
please
lived
vote
in
for
Vancouver.
Adrienne Carr and her Green Party because they're very supportive of us. And actually, please, if you get the chance to vote for Hector Bremner because he's also supportive. Well, at least he's been more supportive than the others. He wants 77 legal dispensaries right now, or at least, and he's supportive of vapor lounges. In fact, Hector is having an event at the Pain Management Society on September 27th, the evening of, and Neil will probably have to go because I can't go because I'll be on the way to the Prairie Medicinal
I saw
Harvest Cup.
his
too bad.
TEDx talk the other day. He's a pretty moving fella.
Yeah.
He's pretty cool.
I like him. He's been here hanging out with us.
Oh, really?
And he offered to come and hang out on Pot TV. In fact, he even sat down in the seat, and we were going to put him on the 420 Lifestyle on Monday, but we decided not to ambush him on air with a whole bunch of stuff. We're like, let's do this in another. But we probably should have because he hasn't been back yet. But
Yeah, you gotta do.
Sarah Blythe.
So what day is the election again?
October 20. Or wait, what is it? Now I'm forgetting.
26?
20th.
It's the legalization is on the 21st, and it's on
legalization is on the
17th.
17th. Oh, so I think the election's on the 21st.
Or was it 21st? Okay.
Vote early, vote often, camp out, and
Vote
remember,
often.
vote or stick your head in the oven and push the turkey button.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Love it.
October 20th.
20th. Okay.
20th.
Somewhere around there. Jesus. It's off. So 3 days difference there. October 17th, October 20th. It's going to be pot related this election, so make sure you do the research before you go there. Don't vote for the NPA, but although I can't say that because apparently somebody was just telling me that the head of the NPA is being pretty cool about pot. What's his name? The guy running for mayor for the NPA, Mike or something. Landlord. I don't know. I haven't done my research obviously here, so I shouldn't be saying these things on air. But
it's just like I said earlier. The tone towards pot is going to change so quick with elected officials. It has to. They are definitely going to see that. Oops, this isn't what the public wants. We came out. We were all like, oh. But as soon as legalization goes, they're going to go, oh, well, it is legal, so they're going to slough off the other way. And you watch, because they need those votes, and there's way too much investment at stake.
Yes.
They're going to want that investment money in
Well,
their ridings.
Even the NPA guys are trying to sing our song. Like, I had breakfast with John Kupar, who was running for the NPA, for the leadership of it.
He was president.
And he was cool. He was, like, trying to be cool at least, and said that he was supportive of us and supportive of 420 and stuff. But I can definitely say don't vote for Wei Young. She's running. I am one member of the NPA who is not supportive of marijuana.
No.
So yeah, but we should have a little guide for you guys soon. We're working on this for Cannabis Culture, where we go down and tell you who might be the good candidates here in the city of Vancouver to go for. If you live in a municipality outside of Vancouver, you're going to have to do the groundwork yourself, because we can't do it all. But here in Vancouver, there's a lot of important things going on. So what happens here is kind of pivotal. We've kind of made in the past the rules in a lot of ways and defined things, pioneering this path. So things that happen here could have effects other places. Mm-hmm. So we got to make sure we get the right politicians in here so that we don't lose the amazing things that we've been able to have for the last 20 years here. Cannabis Culture is going to be 25 years old next year.
That's awesome.
So we can't lose all this stuff.
Get involved, get engaged, get educated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a big anniversary, boy.
It is a big anniversary next year. 25.
Lord.
Yeah, we're working on some goodies for you guys. Hopefully we'll be able to have all of our 25th anniversary dreams come true.
You're going to throw a massive party.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Sweet.
That one's going to come through no matter what.
I think I've been here about, 18? Something like that?
You might be one of the oldest.
Or 20th? Yeah, I think actually 20. I think I've been around 20 years.
We blow the dust off.
That's why I went into a little bit of retirement for a bit. I had to take a break, man.
20 years.
It's probably going on. I think it's by next year. It might be 20 years, actually. Yeah.
Been a long time, man. Well, because I've only been here at Cannabis Culture for 10 years.
Yeah, well, I was here before Jody.
Yeah, you were here before Jody.
Yeah, quite a bit before Jody.
And yeah.
I was established already, and Jody came in.
Marijuana Man's been here for a long time.
He and Chris Bennett.
Chris Bennett was here before. Chris Bennett's been here for longer than anyone.
I think Chris has been here the longest.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
because Chris Bennett was here before Cannabis Culture was here. So he was like surfer hemp dude.
Yeah.
Or like skateboard whatever.
Skateboard guy too.
Definitely back before Mark Emery came to Vancouver, Chris Bennett was a hemp activist here.
Yeah, because my good buddies actually, we knew Chris through a friend of ours from the island. He's from Yakluit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I kind of got to know about him, but he was a little older, so he was friends with a buddy of mine's friend.
Yeah, hemp activism really kind of kicked off the resurgence of head culture here in Vancouver and across Canada, because in the 80s the government really did a huge crackdown on head shops, and there were head shops back in the late 60s and 70s. They were around, but then they really did a huge clampdown and they were gone.
That's when the Georgia Strait was controversial.
That's right.
I remember those days.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was then, of course, Mark who came and really pushed for trying to push the head shops here in Vancouver, and we had the cops coming in here smashing glass bombs.
Yep.
And like,
this place was what, Cannabis Canada, I think, wasn't it? Or
yep. At first, it was Cannabis Canada.
Or Hemp BC. Hemp BC. That was another one.
25 years ago when it started, it was Hemp BC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I came in just after that, a couple years after.
Yeah, but right here on the block for 25 years, though, that's a long time.
There was a party with Ian Hunter, another saint from back when.
I remember Ian.
And
Sacred Herb.
All right.
Ian he had a smart idea. He'd have a party just before the rent was due. I'm sure an old rent party. And people would show up and there'd be a nice party and he'd collect the money. So he was talking to Mark and he said, what we got to get to do is we got to get together and have a public experience for people. They can walk by a store, Yeah, good idea. Well, there's a store downstairs. So let's go down and look tomorrow. So they rented the first one, which is across the street. And then Ian went over to Sacred Vision, was it? Or over in Vancouver, or in Victoria?
Sacred Herb.
Sacred Herb, yeah. And the cops came down, they came to bust him. And it was just like that scene out of the Onassis movie where they landed on the oil tanker and Onassis said, talk to these Japanese guys, they just bought the boat. He lives in his helicopter. Well, the cops come in, we're here to confiscate Ian Hunter's, all of his stuff. The court order right here. Oh, Ian left last night, sold us a place. Well, what'd you pay for it? Oh, he said it was a gift. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, that was his.
Ain't being stuff anymore. Okay, guys, turn around.
That was his employees. He gave the business to his employees for $1.
What? Wow.
Yes, that's what he did.
Amazing.
Yeah, and you know what the bus was? He had a scraggly little marijuana plant in the window. Now you got to understand that he was in not Fantana Alley, but he's in this alley.
Not the front window.
No,
it was a little window
because
above the
you had
office
to go down this sort of internal alley inside, so there was like no natural lighting. No, it was across the street from Market Square. There was like a little mall inside. So it was just this scrawny little plant in a pot that was too small, and it was more symbolism than anything else.
Right.
Oh no, they wanted to go after the whole thing. So yeah, I remember that. I forgot about that part. That they wanted to take all his stuff. They were going to seize all his property, so he gave it all away for $1.
And then
that was the end of that.
Cops were really harsh back in the day to Cannabis Culture. I mean, they came and smashed the place up.
Oh yeah, they busted all your
emptied
stuff.
Threw the seeds on the floor, sort them out later.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's after 7 o'clock. We've been rolling for 3 hours plus now.
Wow.
So
you guys
we
were
didn't
rolling.
even
I
watch.
didn't see a joint.
Yeah, we did. We had pre-rolls today, but we smoked all the pre-rolls. But anybody who wants a dab, welcome to.
Here's your kid on the block.
What do you got there?
It's this section. Spray.
It's a sprayer. Put it under your tongue.
I don't do the sprays.
What's in it?
No, only because I'm assuming it's alcohol based.
Okay. It's
You already
gold
told us
tears.
You liked LSD. So.
I did, yeah.
Could be that. Sorry, go
gold tears and coconut oil with a hint of black cherry. You'll love it.
Is it going to get me really ripped?
You kidding? No
yeah,
way.
But edibles mess me up, though.
No, it's not. Just on your tongue, just for the flavor.
All right.
It's like a.
There's no alcohol in it?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
With booze, you lose.
Yeah, no, for sure.
With weed, it sure tastes good.
Oh, that tastes very nice.
Just taste it.
No,
we have to carry out here, I promise.
It's all good. I have
We're gonna wake up.
a conference that I have to wake up.
I'm not riding my bike.
Internal organs missing in a bathtub.
I'm taking public transit. I don't have to worry. I'm not riding my bike.
It tastes good though.
It does. It's delicious.
So you were talking about the politics thing. I can never figure out whose team is what. Now, how does this work? NPA stands for No Poor Allowed, and COPE stands for Canadian Old People Exist, and Green stands for Let's Have a Party?
Yeah, I guess so. That's pretty accurate actually. The NPA is the business folks. COPE, I don't know. They're running a whole bunch of candidates now again, are they?
And Vision's new slogan is Vision in the Wind.
Yeah, Vision's pretty much decimated. I think they just haven't really been very popular. So their
times are finished.
Well, but I mean, maybe, who knows? Maybe some of them will have the I mean, I don't think any of them are rerunning, or not very many of them, if there's anybody. So that's a good thing for the most part. I'm glad Kerry Jang won't be there anymore.
Is he? He's not running?
I don't think so.
Oh, that's a great thing. That's
Yeah.
good news.
The guy who told us in front of a crowd of people at SFU that the regulations here in Vancouver were designed to fail and designed to take as long as possible so that nobody would be legalized until the government figured it out, the federal government.
Yep.
He literally told us that. So everything that they were doing was just a lie, basically.
They were stalling. They were just spinning their wheels, stalling for time.
What an idiot.
And trying to make some money while they were at it.
I'm not a huge fan. Kerry, he knows. We've had our own problems back and forth, but he was actually really upset with us that day.
I remember that.
He thought we were being mean to him.
Oh, because you called him out on something. I think you actually called him a liar or something like that.
No, I said you didn't. No, I said you didn't do your homework. I said you might want to do your homework, Kerry.
Yeah,
and it got a laugh, and so he was like, really.
Yeah.
Later, he's like, Jeremiah, you really hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
But you didn't do your homework though, Kerry. So
and I think a lot of people there, the reason they got the laugh because they were all realized it when you said, "Yeah, you're off here. You're not."
Well, he was hosting an event that was about marijuana, and he didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
And it was quite embarrassing all around for everybody to sit there because Riel Kapler had to correct him over and over and over again the entire time when they were sitting there.
I have video of that.
I know you do. You were right there. You were right
I
there.
recorded the whole
being mean
thing.
to him with me.
When they asked for, I had to speak up. I had no choice.
Yeah, well, you were asking very, very good questions too.
But
so
it was legit. It was just, look, if this is the reality, and
right, Kerry.
And I wasn't going to be
did not
put
know
off.
what the hell he was talking about, and he was getting frustrated. So, and then he blurted out in a moment of frustration, "Well, we designed the whole thing because he was."
He was frustrated.
Yeah.
Well, you know why though?
You know what
it's
it was?
It was in that sort of semicircle, 180-degree thing. Jody was over there. I'm up here in the middle, and you're on that side. He probably felt that he was getting hammered, he was cut off from his flanks, and so it didn't matter what part of the audience he went to, there was opposition.
Well, the thing was
I
called.
think that's what pissed him off.
It was called City Conversations, and the whole point was to ask questions from the audience. So he was asking for it, literally. I mean, he wanted to have us there asking him questions, and we did.
We were invited, so we went down. We obliged. I mean, I don't understand the problem.
I'm not sure. We're off way on a tangent, but I don't remember where we were. But
what time is it?
City
After
Council.
7. Here we go.
The City Council. Get out and vote in Vancouver, please. We'll keep more information on the shows about that as we approach, so you guys can't forget. But yeah, it's important that people actually take part in these things, because if not, you can't complain about it later. But yeah, I'm hoping that we get a few of them in place that want the vapor lounges and want dispensaries that don't just have prepackaged shit government weed. Maybe we can continue to sell you good quality product for a little while. At least until there's some good quality product available from those government sources.
The government don't like competition.
No, they don't. But anyways, it's after 7. We probably should wrap this up. My thanks to everybody who came on the show today and joined us. We have Piper Courtenay from the Georgia Strait, who was awesome in the Grassroots Expo happening this weekend.
Be there or be obtuse.
Yes. And you can still get tickets. What's the name of that website again?
craftcannabisweekend.ca.
craftcannabisweekend.ca. Tickets are cheap. Good. Be there. Lots of good stuff happening there. Speakers. We'll bring you more from the Prairie Medicinal Harvest Cup. Our big thanks to Jeff for coming on today. Power outage cut that interview short, but you can get tickets online at saskprairiecup.ca. And thanks to everybody. Happy for coming on. Neil Magnuson, Dana Larson, Opus, and Neil on the boards, who we should have talked to about. What did you? There was something.
It'll come. You'll see it soon.
Oh, okay. Was that the? You were also at the court case though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll talk to you about that probably next week. And Landlord was in the house too. We didn't get him on cam, but he's over there smoking, running things. And we'll see you next Friday back again. I think we're going to have our grand opening for Realsies party at High Score next week. Because we did a party there already, and it was like just to, invite only kind of thing. So now we're going to actually have one open to the public. So next Friday, if you're in Vancouver, come down to High Score. It's going to be fun. There'll be lots of information online about that. But we'll probably do the show from High Score again tomorrow, or next week. Next week.
Next Friday.
But tomorrow you should watch High Noon, because they're going to probably give away.
That's at 649 East Hastings.
We got seeds to give away, so tune in to 649 East Hastings is correct. Thank you, landlord.
I think a lotto 649 and I go High Score.
That's right. Exactly. You're always lucky when you're there. Crop King Seeds and Sunrise Genetics. We thank them very much. And yeah, if you want to win these awesome seeds, tune in Sunwest Genetics. My mistake. Sunwest Genetics. And you can check their websites out. I believe it's sunwestgenetics.ca.com. Sunwestgenetics.com. And CropKingSeeds.com. And yeah, we'll have lots of stuff to give away from them on the Saturday show, so make sure you tune in then. Now, I heard that Ms. Kush Queen is not doing her Sunday show anymore, or is she taking some time off, or I don't know what's going on with that, but
she had a show last week.
Oh, she did. Oh, okay, yes. Yeah, has she announced all that on the show?
I haven't seen the last one.
Oh, okay. I can't say too much, but I'm sure if she hasn't announced it on the show already, she's got some amazing things to announce coming soon. So, but she might be taking a little break, so I've probably given too much away. But anyways, tune into all the shows on pot.tv all week long. I'm not going to list them all, but there's tons there. Lots of fun all week. And we'll see you next Friday. Love you, Pot TV. Drug peace.
Peace.
Brought to you by Sunwest Genetics.